Schumann resonance was exactly 7.83 Hz. The discovery was remarkable. Schumann resonance wasn't just similar to the alpha waves of the human brain, it was identical. The brain's frequency controlled our creativity, our performance, our stress, anxiety, and our immune system, had somehow tuned into the frequency of
here and good morning. Here and boom. Go there, change name, grab the link, and go over here to right here. All right, good morning. Just be with you right one moment, right in a second, baby. Give me a minute. All right. No, how come the name came up? The name came up wrong. Stressed Clone Wars. That's the name. Talk about stress and resonance. And it came up wrong. That's weird. That's not weird. It's social media. This is what's supposed to be weird. This is all new software. All right. Nope. It's not coming up right, which is fine. We'll just put it in the label. Stressed Clone Wars. I think we're clones and we're stressed. And some just a little more cloned than it. Some are a little more clonier than the other. All right, put that out there. Post it and going over here. All right. Good morning. Oh wow, y'all already here? How the heck y'all get here this early? Did notifications go out early or something? What y'all already doing here? Good morning. Who's that? Lori? You got your notification? I have no idea how that works, but it works. I'm glad it worked. Hello, good morning, Christine. Nice to be able to follow you. Follow your life, so much better. Follow my life? I don't put my life on here. I put my life on here? I don't understand what you're saying, Christine. Help me out. Good morning, Rebecca and Sandra. Tag several. Thank you, Lori and Kimberly. Anybody wants to share from a Facebook perspective, the link is on my timeline. Although the title says something weird. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing this morning? I think we're stressed clones. That's what I think. I think we are engaged in the Clone Wars. Clone Wars. That's what I feel. I had a post. No, I didn't have a post. Somebody sent me a post. Let me look at this. I can shoot something real quick. Oh, you know what? But in the background, I want something else to play for these guys. I got something I want to play in the background. How come the name didn't come up right? Good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. Don't be a clone. Don't be a clone. We got enough clones. We don't need any more clones. We need to end the Clone Wars. Darth Vader is not taking you anywhere you want to go. Gangsters ain't going to take kids where you want them to go. End the Clone Wars. Don't be a clone. Think for yourself. People, you're God. You are spiritual creatures. You're gods. Trapped inside a 98% monkey biological body. Gods don't have leaders, people, all right? Gods don't have Darth Vadors. Gods don't have Bernie Sanders and Donald Trumps and Obamas, Mays and Merkels and Putins. That's not what a God does. You can't lead a God. Gods don't go anywhere you want. Little G gods, not big G God. I don't think you'll ever create a universe, but I think you're a little G God. I think you're something special. I think you're something beautiful and powerful. Spiritual creature, something we don't understand, and you are contained in a 98% monkey body to be a clone. And they abuse you because you got your 98% monkey nuances, and you just you fall for all the tricks and traps. I got to show you something, but first I was listening to some resonance stuff this morning. Where is it? Right here. I want to play this real quick in the background. Although I might have played a clip from this earlier. I'm going back to right about her. Schumann resonance. That's what I want to talk about. Stress. Stress.
He read the piece several times, shaking his head in disbelief. He realized instantly the magnitude of what was in front of him. The frequency of the alpha waves, recorded by Hans Berger, were almost identical to Schumann resonance.
Frequency of the
The
earth.
frequency of the Earth.
The frequency of you.
Dr. Ankermüller immediately contacted Schumann to convince him to investigate further. Schumann agreed and worked alongside one of his students to refine his discovery. They studied in detail how tension is discharged by lightning in the Earth ionosphere cavity. Eventually, they came up with an exact frequency. The pulse of the Earth, Schumann resonance, was exactly 7.83 Hertz. The discovery was remarkable. Schumann resonance wasn't just similar to the alpha waves of the human brain, it was identical. The brain's frequency which controlled our creativity, our performance, our stress, anxiety,
stress,
and our immune system
anxiety, immune
had
system.
somehow tuned in to the frequency of the planet.
Planet. If anybody can alter that frequency, you in trouble.
The pulse of the Earth had become the pulse of life itself.
Life. A coincidence.
The frequency of a wave is measured in hertz. This refers to the number of oscillations the wave makes each second. Frequencies range from a billionth the size of an atom to the length of the universe itself. In theory, frequencies are infinite, so ultimately endless. If this was a coincidence, it was nature's most spectacular.
No coincidence.
So what did all this mean? It wasn't long before somebody tried to find out. His name was Rutger Weaver, an acclaimed scientist from the Max Planck Institute. In the early 1960s, the professor constructed an underground bunker in order to examine the circadian rhythms of man. The circadian rhythm is the day-night cycle that is engraved into all life. Over a 30-year period, the professor conducted experiments in which student volunteers would spend several weeks at a time living in the bunker,
Called a bunker,
completely
America.
shielded from the natural resonances of the Earth. In his results, Weaver noted some astonishing findings. He discovered that when Schumann resonance was filtered out of the bunker, the students' physical and mental health would suffer.
He took students down there. He didn't trust to do it with ill or old people. He took young students down there because he knew, Weaver knew that there would be an effect. So obviously underground you don't have Schumann resonance. You only have the transverse magnetic fields from in the Earth. So by putting them underground, they started feeling sick, having headaches. Their circadian rhythm was completely upset. The interesting thing was, when he just introduced the 7.8 Hertz frequency with a magnetic pulse generator, that immediately stopped.
Weaver would secretly introduce the 7.83 frequency to the bunker via a man-made transmitter. Each time he did so, he noted the ill effects suffered by the volunteers either disappeared or decreased. Their stress, headaches and emotional distress was reduced, and their sense of well-being was restored. All by the introduction of Schumann resonance. Weaver's research had revealed an incredible connection between human health and the natural frequency of the planet.
Hey, it's a good thing we don't have anybody working on 5G frequency, which is what, 60 gigahertz? It's a good thing we don't live in a country that has rolling out 5G and a president yelling and screaming for 6G. That's a good thing, huh? Good morning, everyone. Good morning. If people can control your stress, they can control your creativity, They can control what you see on the media. They control you. I'm gonna take you back to a post. Somebody posted something quite amazing. So I really didn't even think about. We are in the Clone Wars, people. We're in the Clone Wars. And well, and by we, I mean you, because I'm not interested. I'm not interested. Somebody asked me, I think Susan asked me the other day, something about, you're always talking about politics. No, actually, I'm not talking about politics. Unfortunately, we have to address the political clones and the Darth Vaders, but we mostly laugh at them. We laugh at them because we all gonna die if we keep playing this game. Check this post out. I love this. This is kind of scary though. A little bit scary. If someone controls your stress, they control your food, your water, your oxygen, your air. They dump lithium out the sky on you, GMOs. They control your stress. They control the wavelengths in your environment. What is 4G? 4.6 gigahertz. They can throw you off of rhythm. They can give you anxiety, make you hate your wife, make you hate your husband, make you hate your job, make you hate the other people, the other clones, get you in fights, lie to you in the media. We're in Clone Wars. We're stressed clones. They stress us into conflict. That is how this works. I had a post this morning, and I'm pretty sure it's going to get people upset. Well, you know, people get upset. I don't know why people get upset, and then they send me inboxes. I barely read my inboxes. But imagine, if you will, approximately 1/2 of the human beings on Earth are organic portals, soulless beings who keep human beings in line with the Matrix control system. Like, imagine if half of the people here are clones. Like, I looked at this and I was first thinking like, wow. I was thinking simulation theory. We're in a video game. A lot of people are the NCPs, was that non-character players or something like that. Nobody's driving them. They're just clones. The scary part, before I started thinking about like resonance and Schumann resonance and people being out of balance and being driven by Eddie Bernays, consumerism, emotion type stuff, I was thinking, wow, what if we are in a simulation? And we have a lot of what it was, NPC or NCP? I forgot what it's called. Non-player characters or non-character players. We had a lot of like clones. They were just fluff. They're mindless. They just do things to uphold the system. They do things, they're clones. They don't have a soul. They're just 98% monkeys holding up the table. Central banking and the power structures of the world, oil companies and pharmaceutical. They're the ones yelling and screaming, get your vaccines, trust the pharmaceutical industry that's behind the vast majority of deaths in your country. But was it malpractice and medication, synthetic drugs? It unfortunately would make a lot of damn sense. It actually, in a scary way, it would make a lot of sense. Because people I've known my whole life who are just, they used to be very logical people, have become like monsters. Monsters! Cloneless, mindless, talking point monsters. That's why we touch politics, but we don't talk politricks. We laugh at it. It's ridiculous. It's stupid-iculous. But I don't think it's that they don't have souls. I don't know about the simulation. I mean, it could be in a simulation. Kimberly, this could be your world, and we're all just here watching you. It's like, what is that, the Truman Show? We're all just watching you. We're all just here observing you, and we have a lot of NCPs, and I don't really think it's that. I don't think it's the Truman Show. I just think that they use wave energy. They throw us off balance with frequency and music, frequency with the 4G, 5G, the cell towers, the biological balances with the GMOs and pesticides, the poisoning of us, the stressing of our bodies, the stressing of our minds through the media, the stressing of us into social conflicts. Like, what I was getting to is I posted something a minute ago. I was thinking about, who posted this? Forbidden Knowledge. Great channel. Good brother, great channel. Don't always agree with him. He's kind of out there a little bit, but what do I know? Right here, no, yeah, right here. You're not gonna like this one. Not gonna like it at all. Nope, not gonna like it. But I think it's real. You know, I go on the record and I've said it and I'm gonna say it 1,000,000 times till I say it 1,000,002. The only reason women have no rights in this world is because of America. America hates women, okay? It hates women. The world, the model, the whole patriarchal model is always silence and hate women. But I think this is a deep quote. I had to explain up top what I'm talking about. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can read up to the top, but I'm not gonna waste everybody's time. Y'all already know where I stand on that. When you raise children to be beautiful creatures, they become beautiful creatures. When you raise them to be stressed clones for clone wars, they become patriarchal monsters. Hang on, let me. No, it's not a ploy to get more vaginas in Washington. That has absolutely nothing to do with women. That's bad. Absolutely nothing. You can be born with a vagina, that doesn't make you a matriarch. You can be born with a penis, that doesn't make you a patriarch. That just makes you 98% monkey plumbing. That means it gives you the plumbing. Doesn't mean that you have the characteristics of that. I think our creators have more of a sense of life. And I feel like I gotta explain it for a minute because, you know, people are like, oh, that's choosing a side. I'm not on any sides. I don't do sides. I have no interest in sides and genders and races and religion and preferences and all that silly crap that they give to clones. I have no interest in any of that. I'm saying biologically, physiologically, if you create a life, whatever this nature is, it would give you more of a love of life. It's like, here's an example. People who have children, parents, not the biological donors, but people who actually parent, they do tend to empathize more with children. Why? Because they know the nuances of children. They stayed up late at night when they're sick. They've taken care of them. They've taken off of slavery work to make sure that they're okay. They run to the store in the middle of the night. They come home tired from work and it's 8:59, 8:55, and Daddy, I go to the store and I gotta get something. I gotta do a project. You know, you've kind of gone through all of that, but you also went through the first poo smelling like sugar. It's the craziest thing. I know, because when they drink the milk, mama milk, I don't know what infant milk does, but mama milk, the poo smell like sugar. Till you get some chicken, then it smell like doo-doo, but that's a whole nother, we're not gonna go there. But people who have children can empathize more with children, right? They see the good moments, the bad moments, the times that they're just brought to tears by something silly or beautiful their child did. So those who tend to create life and take care of life a little bit more, and we gotta be honest, women do that a little more than what we do. They tend to empathize with it more. That's like a balanced ecosystem, sustainable thing. Whatever you make to create the life is gonna have to love life just a little bit more. Or it's gonna have to be more in tune with that life. The fact that it's in mom means that there's gonna be some sort of closer quantum entanglement outside of all the other stuff we talk about. But I think our problem, and I grew up, I don't know who used to sing that. There was a song called Fear of a Black Planet. Might have been Black Planet. I don't know. It was the album my brother bought me. I was raised to be a little bit racist. It didn't take in. Unfortunately, I had too many what y'all call white friends. I had too many Asian friends. I had too many Hispanic friends. And every time they tried to make me some kind of a racist, you know, just because the Washington D.C. area is just how it worked. You know, they hated white people. That's just how it works. Anytime you get a whole bunch of people together, they hated each other though too. It wasn't like a thing where they just hated white people. The most racism that I've ever seen in my life was black on black. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm here to tell you the truth. You're not gonna like it, but I'm gonna tell you how I saw it. I didn't know that white people didn't like black people till like college. I had no idea. Racists came. I had no idea that there were racist white people because all the racism was in the black people. Skinism, maybe that's the right word. Skinism. I got this dark mocha skin on me, and boy, they didn't like me. They didn't like, we couldn't go. They didn't want us at the movie theater. They didn't like a nappy hair. They didn't like black eyes. They wanted us to have green eyes, long flowing hair. I thought all the racism was black to black before but anyway, where am I going with that? I forgot where I was going with it. I'm sorry. I done dug up some stuff, boy. It's some stuff that BET will give you some trauma as a child. It'll give you some trauma if you're dark skinned. Washington D.C. area, trauma, racial conflicts, growing up, Fear of a Black Planet. So that was one of the albums back then. I don't think they fear Black Planet. I don't think they fear White Planet. I don't think they fear Yellow Planet. I think they actually fear a matriarchal planet. That's what I think. I don't think that they fear anything else. Hold on 1 second for me. I got. All right, sorry about that. People always trying to sell me stuff. I don't know. Maybe somebody keep calling me because I know I'm on here doing this thing. Don't call me in the morning. I don't answer the phone anyway. If y'all know me, I don't answer the phone in the morning. I don't never answer the. Actually, I don't ever answer the phone to begin with. If I don't know you, if I don't know the number, I never answer the phone. But if I know the number, I rarely answer the phone either. And I don't even know what voicemail is. I don't know why anybody still uses that. But anyway, I think they fear a matriarchal planet. I think they fear more influence from groups of people that have an affinity for life. I do. I think that's scary. I don't think black skin is scary. Black skin will dominate and oppress you as quick as white skin, as quick as purple skin, as quick as blue skin. They don't care nothing about that. They're not even scared of an LGBTQ planet. They're not scared of any of that. They're not scared of an American planet. Not scared of a Russia planet. They're not scared. Well, it's all a banking planet. The only thing they fear is a group of people who would create a model for the world with patriarchs, not alone, with patriarchs. I'm not an Amazonian. Nope, because y'all like to cut the movie off and get their blowing arrow and shoot us. Not that. But putting a respect for life in the model of the earth. I think that's scary to them. Right? Because if you have a respect for life and you have a base that you can't go under, right? You have a common respect for all babies. You have a common respect for all children. You have a common respect for all life. You can't dominate an earth that way. You can't rule an earth that way. You can't oppress people that way. That's what I think they fear. So anyway, that was my point with that. I'm not going to go too deep into it. I do think that they fear sovereignty. They fear respect for life. They fear love. And that's why all of the gods, Jesus, Buddha, Shiva, all of them, they all taught love. It's the only scary thing to a system. It's the only scary thing to a banking system. It's the only scary thing to money. I think that was deep. Something else that was kind of deep this morning. I love when people do the math. Somebody did some math this morning. Hang on, let me show you something. I don't even know what post is. Oh yeah, this is horrible. Y'all see this? This is horrible. Oh guys, it's horrible. Not only should that corporation not exist, no big corporation should exist. When you understand what power and money is, you realize that you can't have big corporations and freedom at the same time. That you're not getting it, y'all getting it. I can't see the happy, angry face. Hopefully you get it. But yeah, that corporation should not go away. The pitch is funny as hell to me. The corporation is not. It's a part. They're a department of they're a part of the Department of Defense. No, I'm not interested. There's something too freaky and crazy going on with them. Now, somebody posted something. Here we go, right here. So I was off in my morning rants. Drink my coffee, meditate, think. And who is this? Sandra. This is the other Sandra. This is that same Sandra on here this morning. I don't know. I got a couple Sandra friends. You know. Why does the U.S. media create fantasy politics? Why is everybody up in roars about all this fantasy about impeachment and walls and healthcare and all of this nonsense while they're bombing and murdering other children? Well, it's because the media's always got to get you off in fantasy politics. The media's got to get you to prioritize you and what you want and ignore children what they want. It's because they have a monopoly on violence and they want to keep their monopoly on violence. See, the Democrats, they don't want to get Trump out necessarily. They just don't want somebody in that breaks their monopoly on violence. Trump didn't want to change what Obama did, not for the Republicans. He just wanted the monopoly on violence. They all just want the monopoly on violence, right? If you own a police state and an empire, that's who you work for. Let's be clear, it's not the presidents. They don't have any power. It's who you work for. They have a monopoly on violence and they don't want to give it up. And that's really what it's about. If you can keep people fighting each other, the same with the Clone Wars. You can keep the Clone Wars going, keep the clones against each other, you can keep your monopoly on violence. And this is what I love. Sister Sandra put on there. She said, I love her mathematics. You see her mathematics? Violence equals money plus power. Mathematics. Very simple. As long as you got money and as long as you got power, you will have violence. It's a guarantee. And this is what I say, like the whole matriarchal thing, is that So if you have a respect for all life, it means you don't have any power. You can't have power over people. You have to respect their sovereignty. You gotta let them grow up to be what they need to be. But then there's money as well. You get rid of power and you get rid of money, violence disappears. And that's just not mathematics. That is behavioral science, right? Because money is why people are in conflict. Money is what all the fantasy politics are about. Everybody's arguing about money, resources, energy. That's what they're all fighting over. And they need the power to fight over. And they need the apathy in the Clone Wars to fight over. That was deep. I love the mathematics. Hang on a second. I got to change my color because that's not my true color. I feel like I'm back in the Washington, D.C. area with light-skinned black people hating me. I was all kind of spooks and this and monkeys and all kind of things. I didn't know white people was right. I didn't know white people had racism. I didn't know that y'all were infected with it too. I thought it was all black people. But you're not supposed to be able to say that. Racism is one thing. Only certain people are racist. Nah, that's not how that works. Humans are humans. Monkeys are just monkeys. I don't know what's going on. I don't be too light. Hold on. I play with my color. There we go. That's almost my mocha color. They had all kind of jigaboos and monkey spooks and all that stuff. All the names they used to call them. Anyway, people are just people. You gotta love them, but the people. I don't understand the whole skin thing. People don't like your feet. They don't like your head. They don't like the state that you're from. They don't like the car that you drive. There's no difference in them liking your skin. If you don't give a damn about them not liking your car, your house, your career, your children, your eye color, things that you say, what you post, if you don't care that they don't like that, then why do you give two damns they don't like your skin or your gender or your sexual preference? I don't get it. I don't know why anybody cares. I don't really care. It doesn't bother me at all. Anyway, I'm gonna do some comments. Oh, wait a minute. No, let me see if there's any other thoughts on it. It's kind of fun. I like going through the timeline. Kind of explain my thoughts. What is this? Oh yeah, this is they're not gonna like that one. America is that is a question. Let me see, is America the number one child trafficker in the world or the galaxy? That's my question. The other options is either the world or the galaxy. Maybe the solar system. That might be an option too. Once you understand what money and power is and what scares people stealing their children. Oh, this was interesting. I like this one too. This was another good one. Yeah, brother. This is why I don't believe in presidents. After failing to prosecute bankers, did he really fail? Obama cashes in with Wall Street speeches, making $400,000 a speech working for the banks. Makes you really wonder who actually was running things. That's why I always say the banks. I always go back to the banks. I think the greatest WikiLeaks ever released was when they showed Citigroup picked his entire cabinet. They picked his entire cabinet except for two people. The banks ran the show then. The banks run the show now. You think you run the show, but that's not how it works. After your president's out, you will find out all the things they did that they didn't talk about while they were in office, right? Because while they're in office, they need you to love or hate them. They won't talk about anything real. They'll talk about birth certificates and ears and bulges in the wife's pants and stuff like that, but they won't talk about anything serious. So as soon as he got out, you saw who he served. He serves the banks. He serves the corporations because that's what America is. It's a corporation that serves other corporations. Oh yeah, I was thinking heart and mind, stuff like that. I was a quick little post this morning. Trust your heart, trust your gut, trust history. Always trust history, because things really don't change. It likes to repeat itself. It changes the labels, but it loves to repeat. But only lend half an ear to your mind. Your mind is the clone mind, kind of on topic. Your mind is the clone mind. Your mind is created by the media. It's created by the people around you, the people that raised you, all the ignorant fools that you like to hang out with. You become who you hang out with the most. You believe what you hear the most. That's just how the human being works. So don't trust your mind. All right, that was it. I do want to take a look at the news, see what's new. Oh, did you know they found sugar on an asteroid? Y'all hear about that? NASA, they didn't found sugar on an asteroid. Yoo, NASA! They found sugar on an asteroid, which I think there are chemical processes for making sugar. There are also biological processes for making sugar. This is like the slowest revealing that there's life in outer space that I've ever heard of. It's taken damn 40 years for them to admit that we aren't alone on an island, a continent, or the planet. So what amazes me though is they're finding sugar on asteroids, and the rest of the federal government can't seem to how to get some sugar over to Yemen. They can't figure out how to stop blocking food and resources getting from children in Yemen because they don't care. And if anyone questions, oh, I didn't even talk about child trafficking. Well, apparently there's a thing going around. I watched a video. They say that there are odd trucks and things parked outside of your Targets and your Walmarts. So you go there, try to go get something late at night, and they're grabbing women and kids. Do I believe that? I don't know. I mean, this used to happen in the 80s. How does that affect me? Well, obviously, if my government doesn't give two damns about child trafficking, and they write half of it's legislated. Half of it's completely legal to come in your house and steal your children. They do it all the damn time. The other part of it is, well, that's that whole child protection thing where the vast majority is not protecting children. And then there's the prison industrial complex, stealing your kids off the street because they got dried plants. There is that too. That's child trafficking. And there are other legislative forms of child trafficking. They just take them in as political prisoners and they hold them in cages. And then there's the other illegal stuff, if you can call it that, because they don't really like to prosecute it. I mean, if you are a guy who's unpopular, if you're a Charles Manson, yeah, they'll go after you. You're unpopular, talking sustainability and hippie free love type stuff. But if you are a friend of Epstein, oh, you're free to do it. But they're saying they're vans grabbing people outside of your Walmarts and Targets. I don't know anything about that. What I do know is we have a deep state. We have a CIA, an FBI, Homeland Security that could stop that if they want to. There's cameras all out there, but that's not what they're there for. They're there to watch you. They're there to contain you. They're there to scare you. They're not there to help you. So I don't know if that's apocalypto or not. Somebody sent me that. I thought that was interesting. But we've been in child trafficking from the very beginning. America has always child trafficked. It was always a part of our values. This is why I don't bow to flags. This is why I don't pledge of allegiances to symbols. Symbology makes you a clone. That's stupid. All right? It's stupid. I am allegiant to values. I'm allegiant to life. I'm allegiant to the human race. I'm allegiant to love. That's why I love one of my teachers is Jesus Christ, the one that the Christians don't never follow. I love a lot of what he said. Don't believe that they follow him because they don't. Somebody asked me the other day if I'm Christian. Y'all like to ask me tough questions, try to get me on side in teams. I am not Christian. I don't know what a Christian is. I don't know what that is. Christ never said to do that, so no, I'm not really that. I grew up in a Christian church, but my empathy doesn't have me there. I'm not allegiant to a label. To me, that's kind of a symbol and a label. I listen to Christ. I think I've said that before. I don't know why somebody posted on my thread that, oh, he's a good Christian. No, he's not. He's a horrible Christian. He's a horrible Christian. He is. He's a horrible Muslim too. He's a horrible this. He's a horrible American. He's a horrible. I'm allegiant to values. I'm allegiant to love and the next generation. That's what I'm allegiant to. I'm not allegiant to the symbols that you say stand for those values. If they can take and put a flag or a nation or a group, a label, a Democrat, a Republican, a Christian, a Muslim in between you and that value and say, well, this symbol stands for that value, they can use that symbol to do anything they want. And if they use that symbol to do anything they want against those values, you'll be cheering the symbol, not the value. This is why I don't pledge allegiance to any of that nonsense. I'm a patriot. The word is patriot, I guess. I'm a patriot to values. I'm a patriot to human life. So that way, when these symbols and groups turn against it, Christians turn against Christ, I'm still where I need to be. All right, that's why. So no, I'm not a Christian. I'm more spiritual than anything. There's endless truth to what Christ said, but there's endless truth everywhere. I'm a creature of the world. I'm a God. As Christ said, I'm a God. He said, greater things he did, I will do, which means that I am a God. I'm a God trapped in a biological 98% monkey suit in a nation that likes to stress and abuse me to try to make me into a monster, and I refuse to be. A monster or a clone. I don't want to be either. So I don't do the teams. Anyway, check the comments and we'll take a look. Oh, did y'all see that bird on Mars? Anybody see that? Or is that old news? Is that old news? Y'all see the bird on Mars? Y'all see the bird on Mars? Ooh, the bird is on Mars. Bird, they said the camera caught a bird on Mars. I don't know if it's a bird or not. I know if it's a bird, they're not going to say it's a bird. Let me see if I can find a picture of this. I think this is a bird. Where is he? Right there. Y'all see this? They caught it in a Curiosity rover picture. You think there's birds on Mars? I don't know what that is. I guess this is the best picture of it right here. Yeah, go down. Curiosity rover, driving around, you're not supposed to be having birds on Mars. Apparently, there's a better picture. This was a shot from the Curiosity rover, I think it was. Is that like a bird to you? Are there birds on Mars? Is there life in space? Damn sure some sugar in space. There's some tardigrades in space. I think it is. I don't know. I found that to be interesting. Oh, I found Susan's post to be. Did y'all see Susan's post? Let's go over there. Let me take a look at that real quick too. About the alien thing. I love aliens. I'll walk away from politics all the time. That's how y'all know. Y'all just get me on aliens. I can walk away from that. Let me see, Susan. Where is your post at? Well, it's not on really aliens. It was about Did you tag me in that, Susan? It was about they said they found that stone in Latin America with an inscription. I'm not sure that I believe it. I'll be honest with you. Let me get down to it. No, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. That's not. Y'all back on the Epstein. Don't let it die. It's important not to let that die. People were really, here it goes. People were really hurt by that man. You cannot let that die. That man is probably still alive, and his friends are still alive. The enterprise is still alive. The bank accounts he used are still there. The islands are still there. Y'all see this right here? This is pretty cool. You know, I think I got to go to it to actually get a good picture of it. I hate going to these things. Can you see yeah, I'm not going to go to it. You go to the page and stuff. This is pretty interesting. I'm explaining what I was thinking about this. So this was found, a jade stone, alien contact in a cave in Mexico. It's got, I'm not sure if it was well, you know what? I'm going to have to, I don't have a choice. It's not going to show up right if I don't. Although I hate doing this because when you do it, all the ads like to screw things up. And maybe that was just on Facebook. So let me swap my image here. I love ancient archaeology. Uh-oh, did I get rid of it? Nope, I got rid of me. Oh, where'd I go? I'm gone. Here I go, I'm back. I want to see the inscription. Here you go, right here. Do I believe this is a real stone that they found? Well, basically, if I move my head out the way, if this is a real stone that they found, I don't think it would be in the news. I don't think it would be published. I mean, it could be. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying if I were a CIA and I were making my income from keeping groups in conflict, then I would classify an Adam and Eve story, right? I would do anything I could to keep the Christian as possible and the Muslim as Muslim and the Jews as possible and keep them all in conflict with each other. So I would probably find that stone, I'd reproduce it to make sure it's a fake, then I'd hide it again. Then I'd give someone a hint and have them go find it. So later on, people get excited about it. They see it like, yay, we found contact alien. More contact, because this isn't the first one. And then I'd say, then they find out later that it was false and phony, right? That controlled opposition stuff. That's what I would do. So for me, while it does look like it's a pineal gland or a piece of corn or something that he's given to the alien, and the alien looks like he's holding an egg or something, and a beaker in the other hand like he's giving him science, and they were talking about creation, maybe that's an egg life. I don't know. What we already know is all these cultures already told us that something came out of the sky and helped them. And that already answered the question for me. So I love it. I love stuff like this. I appreciate Susan's post. I love looking into things like that. I find them highly interesting, but I actually don't need them. I already trust what all the creatures say, because we know what, because people know what people do. They look for these things for evidence. This is finally the evidence we've been looking for. And to me, that's fake news. The evidence that you need is already there. You got your religion that already tells you. Everybody always looked up. So we know we're not alone. That's just the dumbest thing on the earth, that we're alone. You know, so I appreciate stuff like this, but I usually think that most of these things, they end up being fakes or faked, or were real and then faked, because people aren't allowed to know the truth. It would actually bring people together if they actually accepted that we're the only thing in the universe. And once again, and that's what they can't have, right? So the whole thing about putting women in charge, or just taking more of a matriarchal influence in the world's model where we respect human life. You can't do that. If you do that, then it brings everybody together, which means you can't really have money and power. You can't have starving people and high-speed trains in California for $60 billion flying past 10 cities. I think Reagan said, didn't Reagan say? Reagan was the one who said, I often think that if we were facing an alien threat, and alien could be asteroid, or it could be alien, or it could be Project Bluebeam, whatever, that the world's problems would seem very small and everybody would come together. And he was right. He was right. So I don't think that, there's no disclosure. I love the Disclosure Project, but they're not going to disclose anything because you need people in conflict and you need to keep them apart and you need to keep them thinking that they're different. Anyway, let me do some comments and we'll get going. Christine's talking about following the live stream. Oh, well, thank you for following my live stream. Yeah, my life's not on here. That's her question from earlier. Did you see that teleportation error? No, Rebecca, what teleportation error? That's interesting. I believe in teleportation. I believe in all that stuff. Alignment. Yes, Kimberly, we have to be aligned with the frequency, and that's what I think 5G is about. That's why I played the Schumann resonance stuff early on. Because if, the same way they put those kids in the bunker and they changed the resonant frequency and all of a sudden they became Americans, right? They became stressed. They became disease riddled. They became aggressive. They lost their creativity, all the things that it talked about. Then they changed the frequency back to the frequency of the earth and they became happy again. And so they didn't know when he was changing the dial, but he was just taking in that information. And so to me, that's really what the whole Clone War things are about. America keeps Americans stressed. Russians keeps Russians stressed. Syria keeps Syrians stressed. And as long as you keep your people stressed, they'll do anything that you want. So that's what I think 5G is about, but it's not just the electromagnetic and wave energy, but it's everything: food, water, oxygen. As long as your people are stressed, they will behave and obey you. It's like an abuser, right? It's like you're an abusive man, you want to go find a woman. You'll go find one and you will give her problems. You'll give her stress. You'll make her think the chicken ain't cooked right. It's too cold. You don't know how to cook. You don't know this. You're not worth this. You're not worth that. And eventually, after a while, in all of that stress, she'll comply. She'll comply. It's like, what is that called? When the Vietnam vets, when you have someone who's not missing in action, captured by the enemy. What is that called? Yeah, where they subdue you. What is it called when you fall in love with your captor? You worship your captor. Gosh, there's so many words in my head right now. All right, somebody will post it. Nope, that's not it. But this is what governments do to their people, right? They abuse their people into compliance. There you go, Stockholm Syndrome. Thank you, Lord. Stockholm Syndrome. And you fall in love with your captor. And this is what I think the Democrats and the Republicans are. You don't like it, but I'm gonna tell you what I think it is. I think everything is controlled. Everybody wants to be controlled. I had 2 points. I had 2 thoughts I'll spit out there real quick. What would happen if the only news you could watch in your country came from other countries? What would happen? If in America you could only see news from Canada, Russia, Mexico, Bolivia, Venezuela, Syria, Iraq, I think some interesting things would happen. If you were in Russia, you could only get news from America. You could only get news from Europe. You could only get news. Like if we had some sort of setup like that where your government wasn't allowed to dominate and censor the media and control what you know, and you'd actually get some very truthful information. You would get a lot more of the truth than what you get when you have state-sponsored media. I like that. The other thing I like, the other situation I like, is what would happen if they banned all advertisements. Advertisements break us. They make us consumers, and that's why corporations basically dominate and colonize the world. Is they make people consumers. So I think that's another interesting one. Do you think all the Wi-Fi, cell phone towers, satellites, radio stations are interfering with our reception of the Schumann resonance? Absolutely. Absolutely. How much are they interfering with it, Kimberly? I don't know. But I would say they're absolutely interfering with it. There's no question about it. The only question is how much. And nobody's studying that. No one's going to study that. But what we do know is 4G causes cancer. All the doctors that came forward and talked about 4G causing cancer, and that's 4.6 gigahertz. And then they said going to 5G is stupid because 5G is 60 gigahertz. You know, that was the whole point. So if 4G causes cancer, then we know 4G interferes with cells. It interferes with human cells. So does it interfere? If it can affect the cell biologically and create cancer, I would say absolutely yes. 4G is already interfering with human residents, and absolutely 5G will also. All right, Lucy, 5G planet killer is designed to kill life on this planet. Max Joy, I don't know if it's designed to, but I damn sure know it will. They could have designed to do something else, but that is actually where we are headed. And we're going to keep heading that direction. And any nation that's not smart enough to figure out that your government is always trying to play you with these power plays. Ozzy Osbourne asked, how many G's are there? Okay. I don't think we're talking about Gerard, though. All right. Their soul is sleeping. We surely need a spiritual revolution. We do need a spiritual revolution, Christine. And that's what I think it is. I think that their souls are sleeping. I don't think they're clones, like they're soulless. I think their souls have been put to sleep because like the soul is the sixth sensing thing that we talked about. As long as you can keep a monkey in their 5 survival senses, as long as human beings don't have enough food, water, house, and they're stressed, then they'll act like monkeys. They'll act tribal, and they'll pick a team, pick a group, and they'll go off and fight another team in a group for what they have. But when you give everybody what they need, which is why I think the world fears women. The world hates women and it fears women. That's why all the laws are designed to keep them unequal. In America, Saudi Arabia, everywhere. Because they fear the influence of let's not fight. They fear that influence. They fear the influence of let's all get together. But I think when that happens, it allows people to tap into their sixth sense. When people aren't fighting and they got what they need, they're thinking of a sixth sense. Right? They're spending time in meditation. They're moving forward. And so I agree with you. I think their souls are sleeping. We can wake their souls up by focusing on very practical things, which is ending violence, ending scarcity, especially artificial scarcity through government writing legislation to play keep away with things that the human beings need to keep them in survival. Facebook algorithm is much better than this. Max Joy, I would say no. I'd say it's not. Well, here's the problem with Facebook, Max, is that, well, there's two. There's Facebook and there's VK, right? VK is what mostly European and Russia based. So I don't know, it says something about it's the biggest used website in Europe now, VK is. But a lot of the writing is Russian, maybe it was a Russian knockoff. Both of these are knockoffs from DARPA technology anyway. Whoever created Facebook and DARPA, whoever it was, they handed it to that kid, Mark Zuckerberg or whatever, CIA or however it came about. You got Facebook and you got VK. Facebook is not, mostly being American based. It's not gonna let you tell anything that's horribly true about America. It's gonna block and censor that. That's just how that works. And VK is not going to let you tell anything really horribly true about Russia or the European governments. So for us to like have true algorithmic honesty and free speech, talk about anything important, unfortunately, you got to do that on VK. VK will let you do that. But if you're in Russia and you want to talk about the horrible things your government's doing, you got to use Facebook. And that's the weird thing. But most Americans are on Facebook and most Russians are probably on VK. So in terms of like truth and honesty, right now, Facebook probably isn't a place to be, only because, and I'm there. And I don't have anything against Facebook. I just understand what it is. To be completely honest and talk about the real problems, they're not gonna let you do that. And to talk about like the Federal Reserve and the banks, the central controlled banks, that the Rothschild banks that are in Russia, in Europe, and in America, you can't talk about that nowhere. You really get deep talking about that anywhere. You really get popular, you're gonna disappear. That's why I think the Noam Chomskys, they stop there. They'll talk honest and truthful things, but they know their platform and their popularity will disappear. Some crimes will come out somewhere, there'll be a terrorist, something will happen. But you can't talk about the real world powers anywhere. All right. Truman, when we wake up, we're Neo. Um, yeah, I love The Matrix. I love The Truman Show, Patricia. I think everybody's Neo. I think everyone's Neo. I think everyone's your own Neo, and all you can do is wake yourself up. And if other people see something in you that makes some sense, then they might want to wake up too. So I think everybody's Neo, but everybody's got to wake themselves up. I don't think we're like the whole Morpheus, go back into the Matrix and save people. I don't think that we save people. I think that we wake up, and if other people see that and they think that you're going in the right direction, then they'll want to do that too. If they see that you speaking truthful things is important, you're life changing, then they'll want that. Like, that's the way to wake people out of the Matrix sustainably. If they think it's their idea, they're alive. We give them the respect to actually make their own minds up. They'll wake up sustainably, and they won't want to do the cipher and go back in the Matrix, right? They'll want to stay out. But if it's our idea, then they're going to rebound and go right back. And my example in that one, Patricia, I'm a vegetarian, and I had a lot of friends who came with me, and a lot of friends, they all went back. Went right back to me because it was my idea, right? It was someone else's idea. They didn't actually form their own opinions and do research and read the China study and listen to Dr. Greger and, Dr. Oz and those. And so as those friendships were spread out, they went right back, and so you want people to make up their own minds. You don't want them to come along with you. Like I said, gods don't have leaders, and we're all gods. We're all spiritual little g gods. And if it's their idea and they know why they're going vegetarian or vegan or whatever they want to do, then they'll stick with it. If they know why they're getting out of the Matrix, then they'll stay out of it. But the whole cipher thing, no, they'll go right back to the state. So that's why I think, it's sustainable. Everybody's got to be their own Neo. The injustice they inflict on all of us. Yes, Max Joy. Injustice after injustice after injustice after injustice. That's why we have to walk away. That's why we have to completely walk away. Maybe that's one of the reasons they give 2-day-old babies vaccines now. Used to be 3 to 6 months. They disrupt the frequency of our soul and connect with the source. That's possible, Susan. I think they'll never study that because obviously the pharmaceutical industry are way too powerful. Actually, I got in a good conversation with someone yesterday, and I just told him, I'm in the middle. And she was pro, we need to get our vaccines, which is pretty funny because I guess she's a baby boomer. She was a 60s person. And I just walked her through just some of the simple, truthful facts. I walked her through the CDC whistleblower. I told her about my experiences in the pharmaceutical industry talking with the scientists. And the fact that CDC whistleblower is still it works for the CDC. And if you come out and you say, you work for McDonald's and you say French fries cause autism, you will be fired, okay? Especially if you're a man. But the fact is they give campaign contributions, and as long as you're giving campaign contributions, then it means that the legislators won't go after them. They need them. They need them for good retirement. So it's just economics. So it's possible it could affect frequency. It definitely affects biology, and biology is actually frequency and vibration. So all of that makes sense. But I'm not extreme in any place. I just think the pharmaceutical industry could do a lot of good for people. We let it work with healthy people and make them sick, as opposed to making the drugs work really well for people who are sick. And that was my point to it. We don't need to collapse the pharmaceutical industry. We need to change the model of it. It's the model that's sick. We need to make the model, they need to focus on the 20%. They need to focus on the plagues and stop focusing on the penises. They need to focus on the plagues and stop focusing on the foot fungus. Not the foot fungus ain't a problem, but if our biggest issue is people are dying, 25% of children have autism by 2025, then the pharmaceutical industry has no business working on earwax. They got no business, not if they're sentient. And we control the pharmaceutical industry because they're in our nation. We tell them what they will and won't do. We tell them what they will get paid for and what they won't. And they get tax breaks all over the place. So if you want to operate in our country, you're going to heal the plagues. And if you're not healing the plague, you're going to have to get the hell out. And I think you make it that simple. I think you force these industries, because that's why I don't like big industries. All the big industries are none of them are profitable. They all have negative externalities. That's why I'm not upset with Disney per se, but all big corporations got to go away. Not if we're gonna have any sort of wise existence on this planet. All right, let's take a look at the old real quick. See if these old in here. I'm actually getting away from this Friday. Oh, there you go. First thing, impeachment's the first thing on the damn news. Damn old. Impeachment theater and Trump's cholesterol level. All right. I'll be honest with you, I'm not really worried about the impeachment. I'm not really worried about Trump's cholesterol. New research, can you fool your appetite? Oh, that's important. If you're not healthy, that's one of the ways they control you. Let's take a look at that.
And now for something that affects all of us. When you're having a meal, right? What is it about it that makes you full or makes you feel full, right? Is it the amount of fiber that you're consuming, or is it how active you were on that particular day? Well, there's new research led by UC San Francisco researchers that seems to show that we know very little about our appetite. Here's RT correspondent Natasha Sweet.
How full or satisfied you feel during or after a meal may have less to do with a full stomach. According to new research, a stretched intestine along with brain signals may actually be helping to keep our weight in check. We've all heard the claim that shrinking your stomach will help you eat less, but now researchers at UC San Francisco have come across a startling discovery, noting that a stretched intestine may play a bigger role in our daily hunger control. An interesting part of the study reveals how little science actually knows about hunger. Dr. Zachary Knight, a neuroscientist at UC San Francisco, says, quote, given how central eating is to our lives, it is remarkable that we still don't understand how our bodies know to stop being hungry when we eat food. The research published this month in the journal Cell reveals a new map illustrating how scientists were able to stimulate various types of vagal neurons in mice. This uncovered how intestinal stretch sensors were able to stop even hungry mice from wanting to eat. In the study, scientists enabled the neurons found in the gut and intestine to be stimulated by light. This would test their ability to make hungry mice to stop eating. Scientists found stimulating the neurons that sense stomach stretch did indeed make animals stop eating. However, none of the hormone-sensing mucosa endings were able to control an animal's appetite. The bariatric surgery, which is reportedly not fully understood in the scientific community, may actually be successful in reducing hunger because the incoming food stretches the intestine. This in turn activates vagal stretch sensors, turning off that desire to continue eating. Scientists at UC San Francisco are also studying the effects of hunger and thirst and what role neurons in the brain play. In Los Angeles, Natasha Sweet, RT.
So you haven't heard that we're the ones covering the stories that you won't see covered anywhere else? In Venezuela, Kazakhstan. Let's.
Yesterday. All I ate yesterday was a poppy seed muffin. Actually, I ate dinner. But I found out I went all day and I wasn't hungry till like 6 or 7 p.m. I'm a big believer in trust your gut. I'm also a big believer in don't try to fool your gut. I'm a big believer in don't use food chemists and modify food to make people eat things they shouldn't or more than they should. But I will say, to me, in my research as a human being, it actually makes sense that the more you eat, the more you want to eat. Right? The more you stretch your intestine and stomach lining, the more you'll want to. And what I appreciate is something Sadhguru said about food. He said, you know, you're not really supposed to be hungry, and you're not really supposed to be full. That the majority of time we've been on this planet, our stomachs were empty, right? When your stomach is empty, your body's not digesting things. It's like Thanksgiving dinner, which is coming up. So I know y'all about to get out there and murdering them turkeys. When you're full, you want to go to sleep. And his point there was that, well, when you're full, your body needs energy for digestion. So it's spending all that time breaking down food, and walking around full, eating any time that your stomach is empty is a bad idea. That the majority of time you're supposed to have an empty stomach. You know, not starving and not full, but just empty, right? So all the other processes in your body can have energy to do what they need to do. But if you're constantly eating, which is one of the real sick ails about America, Right? That comes from a lot of the ads on TV. You can't turn on the TV without seeing constant ads of eating food, food. Everywhere you go, fast food. And so people overeat. So yeah, if we evolved on a planet, like I like to look back at how we evolved. If we evolved on a planet and the majority of the time we didn't have food, then the majority of processes in our body would be designed to utilize the energy that they needed, right? If we weren't digesting all the time, then there are thousands of processes in the body. The vast majority are undiscovered because we have no idea how this body even works. Which is part of why I'm always in disagreement with the pharmaceutical industry and the medical industry over what they think they know. And they don't even know how the human body works yet. That you probably shouldn't be full all the time. And you don't want to be starving. You just want to be starving. All right. Let me get going. Hence aliens are here. They aren't Irish. Okay. I'm pretty sure they're here. I don't know if they're Irish or not. I'm pretty sure some aliens went to Ireland. And Christianity is a subset of Judaism. It is. And Judaism and Christianity and Islam are subsets of Hinduism. Buddhism. This is the fun part. You can trace the scriptures all the way back to India, right? And so the beautiful thing about that is, everybody's serving the same God. They're all serving it different ways, and they have a lack of understanding of history. But in reality, it all came from the same place. Moses and Aaron grabbed all the scripts out of the pyramids, the Genesis and Exodus, and Abraham, he grabbed copies, and they found copies of all that. So yeah, I don't really get into the whole religion thing. To me, it's silly. It's all the same God. They're just saying the same thing in different ways, and they're serving the same one God or many gods in multiple ways. So yeah, I don't really get too much into that. I find it interesting. Like all of them are just subsets of the Sanskrit text, the Naga gods, right? Everyone's just grabbing different texts and they're forging together their own little group religion, whatever. I'm interested in all the text. So I'm not allowed to be in anybody's group, I don't think. I'm just mostly spiritual. Actually, there's a lot of comments flying by. I can't see because it moved too fast. Hold on. Saw some of the impeachment hearing yesterday. My husband watches it. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Hey, hon, I love him to death, but that brother, he's gonna mess his head up if he watches that. Man, he's gonna mess his head up. I think they put subliminal digital messages in this stuff, where both sides were saying RT is Russia propaganda for the American people. I love that, hey, hon. That's how you know it's true. That's how you know it's true. Anything that they agree on bipartisan, you know that that's a lie. Anything that's bipartisan, like both departments of central banking get together on, both departments of the Rockefellers and Rothschilds dominating and looting America, anytime they agree on it, then you know that the opposite is true. So that's hilarious that they're still attacking RT. Oh, that's hilarious. Like, people have no idea how kingdoms work. They don't even know what the Game of Thrones is, but it's okay. We'll figure it out. Some people won't figure it out to the last minute, and that's okay. We'll try to look out for them, but kings and lords never went away. But I think there exists good and bad everywhere, and good everywhere needs to find a way to come together. I agree, Deanna. Deanna's books and more. Yes, good needs to come together, big time. That's why it's a beautiful time we live in right now, because right now you can see that everything priority is ignored by all the political parties, all the nations, everything important, everything that Americans should be focused on, almost no American politicians talk about, right? The collapse of the currency, the Federal Reserve printing $50 billion to try to hold up the currency from collapsing, and a can of beans goes to $8 a can, right? All the things that are important, they don't talk about. They don't talk about the lithium being sprayed out of the sky from NASA. They don't talk about, the poisoning in the food and how the synthetic drugs through epigenetics change your DNA and give you all the diseases that they claim that they're giving money to fight. They don't talk anything about that. They completely avoid the idea of a resource-based economy. They go nowhere near direct democracy where you vote for yourself and you don't need to vote for a representative. That's how you know it's all phony. And so that's just confirmation. That tells you that the only where you're going to get anything honest and truthful that isn't blessed by your police state and the war state is RT. That's confirmation. They can sugarcoat it as much as they want. The root is Judaism. No, who is Ichiban? Ichiban Thor? No, Judaism is a copy of a copy. Judaism came from India. It's a copy. They're all copies. The Sanskrit text. They actually have the scriptures in the Sanskrit text, and they haven't even translated all of them yet. In the Syrian text and the Sumerian text, all those scriptures came from other texts. They came from a lost root religion. So yeah, I know people. Everybody's kind of got their thing, and they want to attack this and attack that and attack that. The reality is y'all were stupid. That's that's the reality. The reality is that we're all given struggles that were all false because the information was always false. We know nothing. Every 13,000 years or so, this planet gets wiped out. And we have no semblance of what happened before we got here, you know. But I think all the understandings create all the different religions and keep everybody in conflict. And so I have no conflicts with Judaism. I have no conflicts with Christianity. I have no conflicts with, my only conflict is people that murder people. That's my conflict. People steal from people, rob their land and resources. And those religions are used to do that, you know. But just as well, atheism, agnosticism, whatever. Like these are all, to me, they're all cults. They're all cults. I love them to death, and they're always just enough true to get membership up. But yeah, I don't believe that they're the root of anything. We don't know the root of anything on this planet. We are 98% monkeys fighting over bananas. I recently discovered and implemented intermittent fasting. Really like it. Yes, Don. And see, you're on it. You always post with good stuff. And I think this is why fasting is important, right? Don, there's a scripture that says some things only come by prayer and fasting. And fasting was crazy. Fasting makes no sense. It's crazy. Why would you do that? That's religious. It's a cult thing, whatever. No, there's truth in fasting. It's called intermittent fasting. When you fast, your body reclaims white blood cells, and then it creates new white blood cells to go out and to fix the current problems in your body. You know, and this is when we talked about how the body systems, how they evolved, which is why looking back at how we evolved is more important than asking and trusting your doctor. I'm not against asking your doctor, but you need to hold on to trusting, because when you go for long periods of time without food, your body heals, and that's important. So there are a lot of healing processes in your body that are not taking place if you're constantly eating food. And so I think that's the whole thing where whatever people call God told them that you need to fast, because you're not supposed to be full all the time. And when you're not full all the time, your body works how it's designed. You could have cancer, but you have tons of white blood cells that are out there fighting viruses from when you were 5 years old. Why do you still have them? Why do you need them? And I guess you got your memory T cells, and they're still there. Don't get me lying. I'm not a doctor, medical person. I look at what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. And the majority of time that we were on this planet, we did not have full bodies, full stomachs. So we shouldn't have full stomachs now. When you fast, your body is healing. Yes, Kimberly's agreeing with that. Thank you. Of course they were, because RT reports true stuff. U.S. media is the propaganda, and the establishment always accuses others of what they're guilty of. Patricia Hauser for the slam dunk. And that is why. Because your kings are never going to tell you what's true. Your kings are going to always smack you in the back of your head and tell you the other guy did it. And at some point in time, we got to grow up. Y'all remember that on the playground? On the playground, when you didn't get it, you were a new kid or something. You got out there in the playground, you didn't understand the game, and somebody smacking you in the back of your head on the left, and he'd run to the right. That's what the NBC, MSNBC, Fox, CNN, and the Democrats and Republicans, all they are. They know that you're the new kid on the block. They know that you're the naive one. And so while you're out there, want to play kickball or football or basketball or something, they run by and they smack you in the back of the head over here, and they run on this side, and you blame the guy that's over there. That's what it always is. That's why I always do the opposite of what they say. I use intermittent fasting daily. Yes, eat from 2 to 6. It makes sense, Kim. I think you just eat. You eat when your body says it's time to eat. Not when you're empty, but when your body says, okay, it's time to eat, that's when you eat. And that's why I didn't eat yesterday. I was busy. I was running around doing stuff, and it occurred to me around 6 o'clock. I didn't eat anything today. All I had was a poppy seed biscuit, muffin. And I'm not excited about it being a poppy seed muffin, which is why today, guess what I'm eating? Guess what I'm eating, y'all? Today, we eat mud, baby. Yeah, we got a mud smoothie. This is my meal today, because I ate crap. All I ate was that crap yesterday. Oh, that's good. What's in that? Every color carrot that I could find: purple, yellow, white, black, orange. Every color carrot. I threw a whole bunch of carrots in there. I threw a lot of green, leafy green, organic lettuce in there. Piled all that in there. I think it's 2.5 bananas in there, and an avocado and some nuts. And why am I drinking this? Because the other stuff was like, woo, can't live on poppy. Man cannot live on poppy seed alone. Oh, another thing about yesterday. Great conversation. I had a great conversation with this lady. Hemp is so important. Hemp might save America. Hemp just might save America. You know, I was thinking about the beauty of farmers replanting hemp now, right? Because you know you can eat hemp. You don't have to wait for hemp to be a mature crop. You can eat it at any point in time. We got places around here that are getting microgreens from hemp. When you're dealing with a currency collapse and the price of a loaf of bread is threatening to go over $12 a loaf, you want hemp around. When the can of beans is gonna go from 99 cents to $8.95, and you got people who can't afford it at 99 cents, you want some hemp around. Hemp might save everything. Might save everything. Because from hemp, you can make your milk, you can make your flour, you can make your bread, you can make all kinds of food at any stage in the crop. Damn it, you can smoke a hemp flower. I don't know that you'll get high. Well, you won't get high. But hemp is so important. So if you're living in a nation and you got two political parties that are just ignorant, just dumb, stupid as a bag of bricks wet, and they're still fighting over fantasy things and where presidents put the penises and dumb stuff, impeachments and things that just are completely ignoramus, just completely lost when it comes to what actually is wrong with our nation in this world. You want to plant hemp. Hemp farmers, great idea. That might be the one thing that saves us, because when these people are hungry, they're coming to your door. And if they're fields of hemp, they got food to eat. As long as people got food to eat and a place to sleep, for the most part, they're not going to be trying to rob you. We won't be in a zombie apocalypse. So I think it's a great thing. I think it's a great thing that people are planting. A lot of farmers are planting hemp. Now, it's hard to harvest, but now you have hemp fields going up everywhere. So you don't have to do the foraging thing. Like, I want to go do some foraging. I'm still scared of the mushrooms. I can go hang out with Susan and do some mushroom foraging, but I'm scared of that. I know what plantains look like. I know what some of the natural things are. We got persimmons and things around here. But when you're talking about coming to a time where food is insanely priced because no one in your nation grows food anymore, all the farmers are planting GMO soy and corn, you need to know what hemp looks like and you need to know how to prepare it. So I think that's that came out of yesterday's conversation. Anyway, let's look at the rest of it. Anything else in here? Off this right now. What else is over here? Anything important? So that was good. Amnesty International, not credible on Iran. Of course they're not. Iran is a peaceful nation. They're not invading anybody. And it's not my business anyway. Anything that comes to me in my media is going to be a lie anyhow. So I really have no inputs on Iran other than don't go over there and murder people. We ain't got nothing to do with it. I thought I heard something where Israel was shooting rockets over there. We shouldn't be a part of it. We should not be a part of it. They need to solve their own problems. We need to stop giving people weapons and money that's making them arrogant, telling them that we're going to send our kids and daughters to go die for things that they can solve by sitting down and having meetings. Chris Hedges maintained the U.S. empire is bipartisan. It absolutely is, and because that's Chris Hedges, we got to watch it. Chris ain't here to play.
We're going to begin with the latest out of Bolivia, where demonstrators have turned the table on the military and the right-wing coup organizers who removed a democratically elected president. President Evo Morales was heralded even by the IMF for actually reducing poverty in his country and helping his people, especially the poor. But after winning the election, he was forced out by this coup.
Bipartisan meddle in other people's elections ever? While complaining about voting machines in Russia? Ever?
Now his supporters are on the streets trying to get him back, and today he sent them a message about what he describes as the real reason for his removal.
A small group of civic leaders in Potosi rejected our plan for lithium. Next year we were planning on starting a huge lithium carbonate industry for food, for medicines. It was a beautiful plan. And then comes this attack.
Pero el interior,
But from inside, from national elites, or from outside, from strategic interests. Because the future is dependent on lithium, electric cars, long-lasting batteries, and one of the largest reserves is in Bolivia.
With my brother Alvaro, this was our proposal. With the industrialization of lithium, we'll be able to determine the price of lithium for the world.
Joining us now is Chris.
And you can't have that. Democrats and Republicans cannot have that. They've already sold that lithium. Baby, that lithium was sold on Wall Street a long time ago. Okay? They already sold the lithium in a land that they don't even live in. And so they're getting behind him not being able to use that lithium for whatever he wants. They do not want someone in Latin America setting the price, no more than they want Africa having a gold currency. So what they do, they kill Gaddafi, and by the same thing, they kick Morales out of his country. Why? Because the criminals on Wall Street don't want anyone else having any other power than what they have. They've already sold it, just like Venezuela and the Koch brothers. That oil was already marked. They already bought it from why? They bought it from politicians, and politicians are making sure that it happens. They got a CIA to make that happen.
Hedges. He is a Pulitzer Prize winner. He is also a real truth teller and has gotten in trouble for it. He has a show called On Contact, and he was a bureau chief for the New York Times. So you come with all the credentials. You understand the world that we're now living in, especially from the point of view of what our role as Americans is. This situation right now in Bolivia seems extremely interesting. A president is elected by 60% of the vote, and almost immediately he seems to have been removed in what appears to be a coup. Your take?
Right. Well, this is nothing new, as you know well. This is the revolving or story of Latin America, that as soon as a populist figure like Evo Morales appears, the knives come out on the part of the empire and on the part of those corporations that hold especially the natural resources in a place like Bolivia hostage. There's been a constant conflict between these corporations and Evo Morales.
Let me stop you there, because you just said something that's very interesting. There may be a reason for the United States government, the government of Chris Hedges and Rick Sanchez, for the country where we live, to do things from time to time in other places, right? But it seems like what you just described is something where no one asked Chris, no one asked Rick, no one talked to our media, no one talked to our Congress. It just happens out of thin air. We go and destabilize a government. Doesn't that seem crazy?
Yeah, but that's, decades of practice of the, the so-called invisible state but it's how the CIA operates. It's how they operated with Mossadegh in Iran. It's how they operated with Arbenz in '54 in Guatemala. There isn't. I mean, this is the so-called deep state. That unelected, especially in terms of foreign affairs, in the management of empire. No, even Congress doesn't know. I mean, Feinstein tried to hold the CIA accountable to torture, and look what happened. They operate, completely in the shadows, and they operate on the behest of the business interests. I mean, United Fruit didn't want Arbenz around in '54, and they got rid of them.
Yeah, 2009 Honduras. You don't have to go.
2009 Honduras, or
Hillary Clinton.
Mossadegh wants to control. What a shock! Iran wants to control their own oil supplies.
Right.
Hey, they're out. The same thing was true with Patrice Lumumba in the Congo. So on and on and on. This goes back decades and decades and decades. It's about the maintenance of empire. And that's what we're seeing in Bolivia, where I lived in Bolivia. I studied Spanish in Bolivia. And you go back to the whole mining interests in Bolivia, tin mines in Bolivia, and the radicalization of the miners, most of whom are communist, unionized, constant battles. Even when I was there, there'd be a military coup. The miners would dig up their old Mausers, literally World War I Mausers, that they'd hidden, and dynamite the roads to try and hold off the military. What we're talking about, go all the way back to Eduardo Galeano's Open Veins of Latin America. This is just a pattern.
And now they found lithium in Bolivia.
Well,
and apparently that is a huge deal.
It is.
The oil of the future.
And guess who wanted to control it? And guess who they didn't want to control it?
Evo Morales.
Exactly. Evo Morales said
Even though he brought poverty down in a country where no one else had ever been able to do that.
His sin was, we want to control the lithium. and the multinational, corporations, they set the machine in motion.
Here's my problem. These apparatchiks, for lack of a better word, who we're watching today, for example, in this impeachment hearing that I was watching this morning, which, by the way, not to talk about the credence or lack thereof of the impeachment hearing, but these people who go before Congress and talk about, for example, Ukraine is great. They're wonderful people, a wonderful country. Russia is bad.
They're fascists, but that's all right.
Yeah, but we won't. But we won't. But the point is, these people, they're just doing their jobs, right? I mean, their job is to go around the world and treat our enemies really badly and our friends really well. And who makes that decision, though?
Who makes the decision? Well, that's precisely the point. The decision is made outside of the democratic structures. It's not publicly debated. It is, especially when we talk about empire. I mean, one of the ironies for me is that, Obama blocked military aid to the Ukraine. Trump, well, he got kind of caught, but he ended up giving it. But these are all, and I spent 20 years overseas. The maintenance of empire is a bipartisan. There's a bipartisan consensus completely, and it is about furthering primarily commercial interests, corporate interests, which are not necessarily in the interests of the state itself. In fact, furthering corporate interest often is detrimental to the standing of the United States within the world community and creates a great deal of hostility. But it's about the primacy of profit. And that is what empire is about. It is about the theft of natural resources and the exploitation of serf-like labor. Look at China. This is what Apple does. And when they need the iron fist of the empire to enforce it, they get it, and that's what we're seeing in Bolivia. That's what we're seeing in Venezuela.
Yeah, this is really an important conversation, and unfortunately one that enough people in both media and in government in the United States don't have. Chris Hedges, always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rick.
So you haven't heard that we're the ones covering the stories that you won't see covered anywhere else? In Venezuela, Kazakhstan, let's go to Hong Kong. And the media reaction to that has been crickets. How about the way we cover those stories? What the hell does that mean? Wale, wale, wale. That's the key word in this case, uprising. Keep? Can you believe that? Watching. This is the right thing for members of the media to do, to actually pick sides. Look, if you like what you see, subscribe.
I'm sorry about that, people. Slavery calls. Unfortunately, that's just what happens. I had to go grab a bag of cotton real quick. All right, here we go. Hang on, let me set back up. Woo! What'd y'all say? Aliens? Oh my Lord. What? No. People, no, aliens don't have nothing to do with us. They don't care. Well, I think they care. I think we're their entertainment system. They're just watching the aliens. They're not abducting nobody. They're not interested. They're having fun watching us. That's what they're doing. All right. Was that it? Disappeared just so. Whoa. Get my village started. Abduction. What is wrong with y'all? Smoothie. Will be. You know, I forgot about my smoothie. No, I was picking cotton. No religion, no money, no BS. I agree with that. Ichiban, the way I look at that, and I know I'm saying your name wrong, is there should be 7 billion different religions. There should be 7 billion. Nobody should be in a team or group or anything. You're a god. You don't need other people to make up your decisions for you. You don't need a king or lord to tell you what's right and wrong. And everybody's got to find that for themselves. Wait, whoa. I got something here. Look at this. Mysterious virus.
Now we stay here at home because the state of Colorado is battling a force that has closed more than 40 schools, raising more questions than answers about the cause, what it could be.
What?
And how this massive virus that nobody really knows what it is can be stopped. We'll bring RT's Rachel Blevins with the details.
The outbreak of what officials are calling an unprecedented virus has forced more than 40 schools to close in Colorado after the illness hit hundreds of students. The location is one of Colorado's largest school districts in Mesa County Valley School District 51, which serves more than 22,000 students and nearly 3,000 teachers and staff. The district claims the virus is extremely contagious. The symptoms include vomiting and fever, and the illness was spreading quickly through schools. In a statement, the district's nursing coordinator said, quote, "It appears that there is now a second related virus that is affecting students, some of whom have been already ill in recent weeks. The combination of the two has created an unprecedented spread of illness." The district said this is the first time it has been forced to close all schools due to an illness, but it plans to reopen by December 2nd. Now, the district superintendent of schools said, quote, "The rapid spread of illness has led us to the conclusion that closing all schools to allow our custodial crews and environmental health and safety team to perform an intense cleaning of the school buildings is the best course of action." Reports have noted that a virus outbreak in a school is not uncommon at this time of year, and there have been similar school closures in Georgia, California, and the United Kingdom this fall. As for Colorado specifically, local health officials say there are about 150 to 200 outbreaks suspected to be caused by norovirus in the state each year, and while it is most common in nursing homes, outbreaks at schools are not uncommon. Now, at this time, officials have yet to say what they believe is the cause of the illness or if it is life-threatening for the students who are battling the mysterious virus. In Washington, Rachel Blevins.
I know the cause. The cause is oligarchy. That's the cause of it. When you have an oligarchy in the pharmaceutical industry, doesn't actually have to do anything, where they actually don't have to solve any problems, they don't have to heal anything, and they can just make all kind of aspirin medications, foot powder, nose powder, ear massage oils, and skin lightening and skin darkening stuff. They don't actually have to solve anything. All they gotta do is make drugs using synthetic medications or synthetic compounds that modify your DNA. You're gonna get a hell of a lot of viruses. You're gonna get a hell of a lot of viruses. And if it doesn't make the viruses, it's gonna hamper the immune system, bog it down with Coca-Cola and Twinkies and poison water and spraying things out of airplanes, and your immune system won't be able to fight. So what do we do? It's always the question. You drink smoothies. This is what you do. What you do is you trust your body. Do not send your children to school with American, UK, German, or any type of kids unless they got a strong immune system. It knows what the hell to do. What do we do? Stop giving your kids donuts and Ho-Hos and Twinkies and Cinnabons in the morning. The first thing you should drink, is a smoothie. They should eat some fruit. That's the first. You make sure that the thing that's been here for damn near 500 million years, making sure the mammals are healthy, your immune system, you make sure it's strong. That's what you do. So what is the cause of it, Rachel Blevins? The cause of it is oligarchy. When you have corporations that own your government, none of the corporations do anything beneficial for the children, let alone the adults or any damn thing else. They're destroying the environment. Expect lots of flus, viruses, coughs, colds, and diseases. That's what you expect. Expect it. Oligarchy is the cause. And it's only gonna get worse. It's only gonna get worse. Don't expect it to get better. George Carlin said that. Don't expect to get better, because I got a whole timeline full of friends getting ready. Go out and vote again. Go out and support them. Send them money. Strengthen the oligarchy. Fight the other oligarchs with this side's oligarchs. You know, and it's like, it's gonna get a lot worse. So yeah, that's the cause of it. It's funny. It's in Colorado. I got a lot of friends in Colorado. They didn't tell me nothing. Y'all don't tell nobody nothing no more. I got friends in California. They ain't even say their power was out. Y'all just sitting in the power, just dark, quiet, happy together, whatever. People don't even say anything no more. How come we don't talk no more? Y'all supposed to tell us when you got a plague breaking out, because I need to know if I need to go run, hide, jump in a hole, find a bunker or something. All right, what else we got? Oh Lord, here we go. Impeach our foreign policy. Yo, finally somebody impeaches something that's important. Finally, an important impeachment. We might have to click on that. We might, no, I'm not gonna click on that. We're not gonna click on that. But finally, impeach things that impeachments matter if you're impeaching something that's significant. Impeach the police state. Impeach the war state. Impeach the foreign policy. Impeach the CIA. Impeach the FBI. Impeach Homeland Security. Impeach ignorance. Impeach slavery. Can we impeach violence and aggression? And can we impeach violence and aggression and unequal rights against women? Can we impeach any of those things ever? Sometimes? Maybe Monday? Yeah. No, I know, because you're still watching TV. The TV make you crazy. Oh, Charles Barkley, bald-headed guy, bald head solidarity. Brother Don over here too. Oh man, Charles Barkley, what does he does? He apologizes for off-color joke about hitting women. Barkley, what did you say? He trying to get back in the news again? What did he say? Y'all know what he said? Y'all want to click on that? Charles Barkley, he apologized for an off-color joke about hitting women. There might be some outrage there. We might need to click on that. I think if it's a joke and everybody knows it's a joke, nobody should take it personal. That's what I think. But I get if you're dealing with that, or if you recently dealt with that, that's not funny to you and you don't want to hear it. I get that too. All right. I can't really speak on it because we didn't watch it. I don't want to watch it, but we can watch it, and I don't want to watch it. I'll let y'all decide if we can watch that or not. I really don't want to watch it. I think jokes is jokes is jokes is jokes is jokes. Make the joke, then take some of your money and help people who are abused, right? Make a joke. Get paid for the joke. Let everybody support the entertainer. We all accept these people are jokers and they're joking. But then you take some of that money and you put it into, I don't know, a domestic violence shelter or something. Do something that helps. Like, it's a good idea to bring up human situations. I think it's always a good idea. It's a good idea to always, there's no such thing as bad press, right? And this is why I don't understand why LGBTQ, which is not really a group, it's just a bunch of people and they got some leaders and they want to be a group. Why the leaders were upset with Dave Chappelle. I don't get that. Anytime you are coming out of somebody else's mouth, and none of that sounded right. That didn't sound right at all. But anytime your group or you, somebody's talking about you, it means people are focusing on you. You can take that conversation and do something positive with that attention, energy, conversation stuff, or you can cry and complain about it so nobody talks about you. When people talk about you, it's a good thing. You're in somebody's mind. People tend to talk about who they care about. They don't care nothing about you. They don't talk about you at all. That's my 2 cents, but I really don't want to click on it. We did entertainment yesterday. We did, who was it? Juicy. We did Juicy yesterday. I kind of don't want to do Barkley today. Now Colombia erupts in protest. Colombia, y'all should have been in protest a long damn time ago. Welcome to the club. America ain't dead, but welcome Colombia. You don't even have a government. You got a U.S. mint. You got a Pentagon mint. You got a CIA mint. You haven't had a government in 50 years. About time they get upset. I hope they're upset about the right things, though. Democrat Dennis Kucinich. Isn't Dennis Kucinich the alien guy? He's the alien guy. He's like, well, he's talking politics. He's something. No, this is important. I think Dennis Kucinich is the alien guy. I need to find this out. Hold on. This is important. This might be. Isn't he the one that he'd seen some UFOs? I know. I didn't read the rest of it. I don't even know I don't did these political something. Kucinich alien. Isn't he the one that's seen the UFOs? Hold on. I got to make sure I know who I'm talking about before we get into the politics. Yeah, that's the guy. That's the UFO guy. Dennis Kucinich. That's the alien guy, isn't it?
Congressman Kucinich, I want to move to a different area because this is a serious question. The godmother of your daughter, Shirley MacLaine, writes in her new book that you cited a UFO over her home in Washington State, that you found the encounter extremely moving, that it was a triangular craft, silent and hovering, that you felt a connection to your heart and heard directions in your mind. Now, did you see a UFO?
I did, and the rest of the account. Oh, I didn't. It was unidentified flying object. Okay, it's like it's unidentified. I saw something. Now, to answer your question, I'm moving my. And I'm also going to move my campaign office to Roswell, New Mexico, and another one in Exeter, New Hampshire. Okay. And also, you have to keep in mind that Jimmy Carter saw a UFO, and also that more people in this country have seen UFOs, and I think approve of George Bush's presidency.
Actually,
and so wait, we're just getting started here.
No. I mean, we have about 14% of Americans say they have seen UFOs. I'm going to move.
What was the percentage?
14%.
What was that percentage?
14.
Oh, they cut it off. They didn't show the whole thing. They didn't show you should watch the whole thing. Outside of the fact that they always like to hide what they're doing in some other stuff. Aliens, the only aliens and UFOs you see are the ones that want to be seen. That's number one. If you are 98% monkey, still on monkey technology, the only things you're going to see is what they want you to see. But outside of that, the TR-3B, that's why I went right to it. As soon as he said triangular craft, I already know what he saw. But what they cut off was like the last part of that. Because then they asked Barack Obama. And you know what he said? Because he get up there act like he y'all uncle and y'all believe it. He's like, well, I don't know if their aliens are up there and the aliens need help, but there are humans here and the humans need help. Something like that. Yeah, I paraphrased and made it up, added something, do some chocolate sugar on it from the asteroid. But that's basically what he said. And everybody laughed, yeah, help the humans, help the humans. And you're not understanding. You're not understanding. If you have a TR-3B Astra and it's flying all around on anti-gravitic, I'm not going to get into it, technology, it means that your people got basically free energy, right? So all the people that Barack Obama's talking about who need help, if they had free energy, they wouldn't need help. They'd all have energy, okay? They'd all have food. They'd all have water. They'd all have power. You wouldn't have California turn the lights out. But see how they take something important and they make a joke out of it? This is why I'm saying Clone Wars, and that's why Clone Wars is a thing. But anyway, Dennis Kucinich, Clone Wars, you're a slave to gravity. If anybody ever solves gravity, and y'all stop laughing at all the Pentagon's aircraft they're flying around because they're staging Project Bluebeam, because they always tell you about the technology 30, 40 years later, we'd actually get somewhere. Anyway, what did he say? That's why he comes to mind. I'm not sure anything. Oh, he's talking about impeachment. Oh, Lord. Kucinich. Impeachment not helping the U.S. What? He's a Democrat? Let voters decide Trump's fate. What? Well, first of all, voters don't decide any president's fate. Banks do that. But he actually said impeachment's not helping? Oh, man, I almost want to click on that. That's tempting. That's tempting my tummy. It's tempting, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not interested. It's tempting. I'm glad to hear that. But you know what? Is he saying that, though, just because we're saying that? Like, is he saying that because he's finally realized that they're not buying it? We're going to need Democrats to say something because in case they're not buying the impeachment thing and they don't realize it, the Democrats and Republicans, we're all working together. They're not buying it. We need someone to go forward. You can't use Bernie this time. Got to use somebody else. Somebody call up the UFO guy. And they get Kucinich and put him on stage. You know, the impeachment's not helping. We got real problems. Just for the Democrats that are like, you know what? Maybe these people playing with me. Maybe these people are lying. And that's how you kind of keep your political party together. You keep your clones in order with Darth Vader. All right, anyway, Californians enraged. They must help fight climate change thanks to PG&E. Uh-oh, gotta talk about California. And turn the power off.
This week, PG&E cut the power of 150,000 Californians in an ongoing effort to make sure they don't cause or contribute to any more of the state's devastating wildfires.
Right. Everybody in California should get pictures of 3RTB and frame them and put them on big chains how Flavor Flav did. Just put the TR3B down like that. Your government has free energy. They got over 1,000 energy patents. Everybody done seen this TR3B flying everywhere. Everybody knows it's there. We know they got anti-gravity device. One of them right here done crashed on the moon or Mars. We know they got all this stuff. This was from a failed attempt back in the 1960s probably. We know we got it. Everybody in California ain't got no power. You should have a TR3B license plate and say the government is lying. That's what you should do. They're always lying about this stuff. Anyway.
This comes after they shut off the power on millions over the past few months. So Californians are not happy with them, and they are going to great lengths to say so. For instance, according to the California Highway Patrol, someone actually fired a bullet into a PG&E vehicle. Another PG&E employee was driving another of the company's vehicles when someone apparently fired a pellet gun at it. One of their offices was egged. And of course, since this is California, there are douchey forms of protest going on too. Yes, a brewery in Santa Ana has named one of their craft brews, Fuck PG&E.
Why is everybody upset at PG&E? I don't get this. Somebody tell me, what am I missing? What am I missing? I'm trying to do the math in my head. If your politicians dictate what PG&E can and can't do, why is anybody upset at PG&E? If your politicians are hiding free energy, if your politicians knew that they outsource your power grid to criminals, why is anybody upset at PG&E? If you know what the Reagan Space Force Star Wars project is, why is anybody mad at PG&E? If you know that the fires are all along the railroad system railway, y'all seen the research, the fires are all along the railway. Where they want to put the new railway? Where they want to put the new railway? The $60 billion railway. If you know that the fire magically is in the land where people live, where they got to get the rail, magically. Well, that's magic. We know fires are magic. Maybe the fire knows. The fire knows it's cheaper to get the land if you burn a house down at first. Yeah, it boggles me. Why is anybody? But you know what? That sounds like controlled opposition to me. That's what it sounds like. If you can get the hate PG&E going, it works like the hate the white people. It works like hate the Muslim. It works like hate the Russians. It works like hate the Chinese. If you can get the crowdsourcing, getting everybody reared up and riled and group thinking everybody, we're mad at PG&E, then you don't think about the TR3B. You don't think about the government that's sold out and the fact that the fires along the path of that railway, that some politician gonna get paid big time. How much money do you make on a $60 billion contract? How much money do you actually make? This is what I'm saying. You can't trust the news. Can't trust the news. I mean, even RT. Like I said, I watch it and I analyze it. You don't watch news anymore. You gotta analyze it. Somebody getting big time kickbacks. Enough money that they would pay this organization to make PG&E hate wine. They got hate wine, yeah. They got hate wine. I'm sorry. This is why I think this is all hilarious. I think it's hilarious. It's crazy. It's crazy, right? Agenda 21. Isn't it crazy? Like people, they don't know about it. But you know, when TV forms, let me go back. I gotta go back to it. When TV forms your reality, dun 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 dun. When you will follow Darth Vader. When TV forms your reality, every problem that you're solving, it cannot be caused by billionaires. It was not the popular ones because the billionaires own the media. All right, we'll finish it out. But man, I hate wine. That's so funny.
Steve Doty, who owns Shady Oak Barrel House, says he named it such because he's angry that the bigwigs at PG&E chose to line their pockets and ignore their responsibilities in their role that led to the destruction of communities across California.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. What is the purpose of a corporation? The purpose of a corporation is make as much money as possible from the dumb monkeys. And they did their job. That's their job. They got a board, and the requirement from the SEC is they make the maximum profit possible. And if that's buying politicians so they don't have to fix their railways, they're buying politicians so nobody's checking them, if it's giving politicians multi-million-dollar retirements for a $60 billion railway, then that's what they're supposed to do. The only purpose of a corporation is not to help you. It's not to prepare your power. It's not to fix it. It's not to maintain it. Their only purpose is to make money. And however they can do that, whatever they can do to get away within the realms of the law that they purchase, they're going to do. Your place is to be upset at your government, all right? Because they're not governing you. They're fooling you, right? They made a fool out of you and you're off hating PG&E, and that's why ain't nothing going to change. That's why you're going to get your power cut off. You're going to get cut off. Go ahead and pay your power bill. They're going to cut it off next year, too. And they're going to cut it off the next year, and they're going to cut it off the next year. They're going to keep playing this game. As long as people are dumb enough to go for this stuff, they're going to keep doing it.
According to the LA Times. Now, he's right to be angry that PG&E's equipment was found to have started some of the wildfires that has ravaged some parts of California in recent years. And others could rightfully take issue with the fact that PG&E was an early member of the group, the Global Climate Coalition, whose goal was to spread misinformation about climate change and stall regulation of greenhouse gas pollution. But here's the thing that's really interesting to me about this story. Although PG&E used to play dirty, they actually appear to have left the coalition almost 30 years ago, and they have long since publicly acknowledged the reality of climate change. They're also one of the utilities that are most aggressively invested in renewable energy. So they are actively trying to figure out how to be better for the environment. And they are shutting off the power to prevent more fires, which is also a move to protect the environment. So I just find it hilarious to watch all these Californians who profess to care about climate change above all throw an absolute hissy fit that they have to live without power. I mean, isn't that what we're all supposed to be doing right now, to be good citizens, learning to cut back on our energy consumption? Isn't that part of the Green New Deal? To see these righteous hypocrites point fingers is just hilarious to me. The truth of the matter is, every single one of us is a participant in this big mess we've made, and we're all going to have to make sacrifices if we want to clean it up. And if we're not willing to do that, we should stop trying to blame everyone else for climate change. We're all in this together, people. It's time to stop trying to point the fingers at others and start working together.
I agree with the end. I don't agree with anything she said between hello and the end. I didn't agree with any of that. I'm just like, no, I don't think that's true, but that's okay. I don't think PG&E is a good company. There are no good companies. If you got more than 100 employees, you're not a good company. You're not even profitable. You have negative externalities and you should not exist. You people need to focus on these Democrats and these Republicans. The model of your government where corporations, if they pay for it, it's a good thing to do and they get legislation. I know Christine, right? She mentioned the Green New Deal. I'm like, oh Lord. Do you know what green is? Do you know what color green is? Green, what is it, yellow and orange? You even know what green? All right, I'm not gonna talk about nobody. It boggles my mind. The Green New Deal is not green, it's black. I'm just gonna tell you right now, the Green New Deal is not green, it's not new. It's black because they don't know nothing about no green. Corporations have no interest in green. Corporations have bought all your politicians and both your political parties. Green is not allowed. The only thing that's allowed is olive, aqua, not even olive, probably aqua. It's not green, and no, I'm slamming it. Christine, I ain't even read it. I read the old version of it, and it was a robbery from the Green Party. So I don't even need to look at it because I already know that y'all have no idea. Green is like more corporations and more pollution and more unsustainability and giving away a bunch of stuff instead of using automation and robots. Yeah, you always got two different sides in the ignorance. And I'm not gonna read the latest version. Because all they try to figure out is how to get people just enough of what the media says makes sense and keep the corporations profitable to give the politicians kickbacks. That's how the world works. Right? Don't trust your mind. That's what my post was about. Trust your gut, Trust your heart and trust history. But don't ever trust your mind. Your mind is formed by this nonsense they put on the mainstream media. They love those green dollars, Marie, and that's all it's always about. It's just about green dollars. That's a Green New Deal. That's the only green it is. And that's olive too, isn't it? The green dollars. That's what it's about. It's just about money. It's all, if the politicians need the money, they need the campaign contributions, and the corporations need the poison the environment, then all you're going to get from this particular model is the name. The only thing green about the name is the money and the name of the deal. All right, they're going to basically, they need unsustainability to keep profitability. Don't be fooled. But I have not read it. I'll let y'all speak on it if you read it. I haven't read it because I already know what these monkeys are up to. All right. RT reports from protests at the Colombian capital. I do want to know there. Are they actually trying to get rid of their American government? That's what I want to know. Israel's AG to indict Netanyahu. Now this is a thing. They indict Netanyahu. This is important.
We begin this evening with the latest out of Israel as the Justice Ministry announced Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will be indicted on 3 counts. To break it all down, we bring in RT correspondent Sarah Montez de Oca. Sarah, I have to think about what's going on here in the United States. Now the U.S.'s largest ally seems to be himself in some hot water. The question is...
Yes, indictment. This is what the indictment's going to be because I read it ahead of time. All right. Item 1. It's going to be backing Epstein, letting Epstein live in your country because he did not commit suicide in an American prison where he owns the American government with his billionaire friends. He actually went to Israel. That's indictment number 1. Number 2, requiring the IDF to shoot Palestinian children in their groins and their legs, causing a one leg and hampering of genitalia apocalypse outside of the kids that they actually murdered. Okay, that's indictment 2. Indictment 3 is a charge called inciting World War III and taking back land that was in defiance of God and the Torah. That's what it is. That's what they're gonna do. This is all 3 of these indictments. I'm telling you, I didn't read it ahead of time.
Is this politically motivated, or is this something we were expecting once the elections did not go as expected just a few weeks ago?
Well, Scotty, it doesn't seem to be much of a surprise for anyone. Earlier today, Attorney General Avichai Mandelblit formally charged Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in a series of corruption cases.
This day is a difficult and sad day. Today, I informed the representatives of the Prime Minister, Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, about my decision to try him under an indictment that includes 3 charges. A day in which the Attorney General decides to serve an indictment against a seated Prime Minister for serious crimes of corrupt governance is a heavy and sad day.
No, it's not.
For the Israeli public and for me personally.
Netanyahu described the charges as an attempted coup against a Prime Minister.
I won't let the lie win. I will continue to lead the country according to the law, exactly as written. I will continue to lead the country with responsibility, with dedication, and with care for the security and the future of all of us, and for our country and for democracy, and for the rule of law and for justice. We need to do one thing. We need at last to investigate the investigators. Thank you.
Since when does Satan care about rule of law and justice and life and stuff like that? That's just all made up.
Dozens of protesters gathered in front of the Prime Minister's residence here, like you see in Jerusalem, in rival demonstrations, some calling for the resignation, while others showing their support. He will be indicted on fraud and breach of trust, which carry a maximum of 3 years in prison, as well as bribery, which carries a maximum prison sentence of 10 years. Now, he is the first sitting Israeli Prime Minister to be indicted, and as Israel's longest-serving Prime Minister, he's held office for more than 13 years. Netanyahu has denied any wrongdoing and says that he's the victim of a politically orchestrated witch hunt by the media and the left. Here are the 3 separate ongoing cases for the indictments. Case 4,000.
All right, so I do care and I don't care. I guess we can watch the rest of it. I just think the punishment for every politician involved in geopolitics is to be extradited to the country that dislikes them the most. That's what I think. That's what I think. I think if they actually prosecute him on some phony charges and not the real stuff that he's been up to, I think they should just send him to Palestine. I don't think he can get 10 years in prison. I want him to have 10 seconds in Palestine. Just 10. That's all. All I need, 10 seconds. 10 seconds in Palestine. That's it. You could give him a choice. It'd be like Running Man, the movie. Here's your choices. You can do 10 decades in prison, or you can do 10 seconds in Palestine. And trust me, if you start extraditing politicians to the lands of the people that they refuse to let any kind of human right, God right, Allah right, Torah right, any kind of right, they will handle it. Trust me, I know. They'll handle it. The Palestinians will make sure that he sees some justice. Pointing gun turrets from tanks at children? Are you kidding me? All right, 10 seconds. That's all I want, 10 seconds.
It involves Netanyahu's relationship with...
The punishment should fit the crime. And outside of the fact you got all the crimes wrong, all his crimes against the 10 Commandments, everything in the Torah, but outside of that, the punishment should fit the crime. All right, what he did to others should what be done to him. And they're going to have a sarcophagus or something to keep bringing him back to life from Stargate. They're going to have to keep flipping epigenetics. They're going to have to just... Anyway, all right. I'm not going to go to capital punishment. Let's look at the charges. Hopefully they do.
Israel's top telecommunications leader, where he could be indicted for bribery. Then there's case 2000 involving Netanyahu's alleged deal with a newspaper publisher. Now, the prime minister would be indicted for fraud and breach of trust. Then there's case 1000, which involved allegations that Netanyahu took gifts worth about $200,000 from businessmen. This was in return for promoting their interests. Now, these indictments, too, would be for fraud and breach of trust. Now, following months of scrutiny, Netanyahu hoped to pass legislation that would prevent him from being indicted, but failed to form Israel's next government following the September 17th elections. While he still has the option to ask for Israeli immunity, that request would need to be approved by a special committee, which has not yet been established due to the political deadlock. Scotty, the legal process could take months or even years for Israel's longest-serving leader, and it remains unclear whether Netanyahu will try to seek a plea deal. But regardless, the country is headed into even more severe political turmoil, especially because he has refused any demands to resign.
Well, Sarah, at this point, it's designed to resign. He's refused to resign. Is he going to be forced to when these indictments start to go under prosecution?
So because he's a prime minister, it looks like he's not going to be forced to step down. They will have to go through the process. Israel does have 21 days, though, to elect a new prime minister. If so, and otherwise, it'll just, like we said, take months or not years for the legal process to continue.
All right, so I got major problems with this one. Is he a brave man? The one who's going to try to prosecute Netanyahu? I don't think so. I don't think so because I believe that a tree doesn't fall in Israel without the blessing of the Rothschild banking system. I think that all this is planned ahead of time. I think that he's fallen out of good public opinion. I think that they've shot enough kids in Palestine running up to the border to need a replacement. Right? Everything is done in illusions and everything is done in the shadows, and you have to keep the people's trust. And in order to keep the people's trust, you got to take out a bad guy every now and then to keep people believing. Same way the Democrats and the Republicans work. You got to take out a bad guy and say, we got it, we cleaned it up. Clean the screen so they can put somebody else in to do the same damn things. All right? That's why I don't really believe in it. I'm not a believer in the system. I'm not a believer in the system at all. I don't think that as long as you got people printing money and they own America and they own these nations, you know what? I got to follow that up with something now. I got to follow that up with Sister Abby.
Truly Hard Seltzer has so many amazing flavors. You don't ever have to have the same one twice.
His biggest crimes are some damn embezzlement and selling some books and not returning some library books and a corrupt deal and stealing some candy from some babies, you need to listen to Abby Martin.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
But yeah, it's sick. I mean, you texted me that video of the kid, you know, another medic was just shot, so.
Yeah, there was something that Bilal Muhammad, who's one of the UFC fighters, had on his Instagram. And I texted you that. It's so, again, this is another thing. It's so difficult to understand what's actually going on. There's so many pro-Israel people that put their head in the sand and don't want to look at some of these atrocities and don't want to look at some of the videos that you sent me of soldiers shooting at people that are not doing anything.
Right. I mean, yeah, I mean, their whole argument is that it's all Hamas and their human shields. I mean, we looked through hundreds of hours of footage that these people gave us, and it's mind-blowing footage. It looks absolutely cinematic and epic, but the footage is harrowing, and I didn't see one.
Before she finished, let's be clear. I don't wish anything on the Israeli government. I don't wish on my own, okay? For me, it's about human life and human rights. Are you murdering people? Are you murdering people? Are you murdering people? So I'm gonna let her talk, but I don't want to make it look like, oh, if you're pro-Israel. I'm not anti-Israel. I got all kind of family in Israel. I got all kind of family in Palestine. It's about government that turns people against people. And my government does it, and so do they. That's why I'm anti-leader. I don't think God should have leaders. So it has nothing to do with Israel as a label or as an entire group. It has to do with a government that has been proven over time and time and time again to not give two damns about children murdering away happily for land, resources, money, power. There's no reason to murder a child, period. You can't have a problem with Epstein Island and not have a problem with the Israeli government. You can't have a problem with the Israeli government and not have a problem with the PLO, the Palestinian government, who also does very well on this conflict, as we heard of. And if you got a problem with them, you got to have a problem with the American government. We got to be consistent in our stances and stop looking at the labels. So as anybody who's still supporting Israel, that's where I stand. Murder, bad. Thou shalt not kill, period. End of discussion. No highlighter, no ifs, ands, buts, this, that, sideways, lip, not, no. Thou shalt not murder, period. That's what I believe.
One weapon. I didn't see one militant, not one weapon. It was literally people with slingshots throwing rocks at tanks. It's kind of a rite of passage. It's very symbolic. They're not trying to hurt anyone. No Israeli soldiers have been hurt or killed, during 2018, which is what the film looks at, is through 2018 of the Great March of Return. And there's not any weapons, there's no militants. Hamas has nothing to do with the march. And it's just shocking. I mean, it's shocking how many war crimes were committed on camera. And it's just amazing the propaganda that's just told to us about what this is and why they have the right to kill people that pose no threat to them.
When you were on last time and you talked about this, one of my email accounts was flooded with literally a chain letter, like the same letter, like denouncing you and your lies and your anti-Semitic perspective and your anti-Israeli perspective. It was weird because it was the same email.
AstroTurf, yeah, it was fake.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a campaign. You know that has a lot of money behind it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money behind that. I mean, the film's mind-blowing. Go to GazaFightsForFreedom.com if you want to check it out when it gets released, and it's just really incontrovertible, Joe. I mean, even if it were a war between armies, all of these things that Israel has done are still documented war crimes and very grievous violations of international law. And we're talking about direct targeting and assassinations by Israeli snipers of disabled people, of children, medics. Press, and medics. And that's who Razan was. She was a medic, and as you mentioned, another medic just passed away, was killed, rather. I hate to use the passive voice because you always hear Palestinians died. No, they were murdered. They're all being murdered by snipers. And they pose no threat to them. And so the film looks at this UN investigation basically during the march in 2018 and documents all of the grievous crimes and atrocities conducted by the Israeli military. And I mean, Palestine has a right to defend itself. And this isn't even what that is. But if you look at the UN Charter of 1978, they say that, occupied peoples and besieged peoples have the right actually for armed self-defense. And the fact that this is not even what that is, that there's literally people going out there in peace with their bared chests, holding flags, and they're getting killed and sniped. There's so many amputations. I mean, just in 2018 alone, there was 35 kids who were killed.
Okay. And so I want to address something real quick. Ichiban, I gotta address something. Ichiban. Okay. So are Israelis complicit with what their government does? Hell yes. But if Israelis are monsters, what are we? Who kills more children? Netanyahu and Israelis in support of their government, voting, or America Americans and the government that's murdered 5 million people since 9/11, and that's a small figure. Right? If we want to talk about who's really doing the killing, if citizens are complicit in what the government does, we're in a lot bigger trouble. We've done a lot worse.
900 shot.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's children. And you know, some of these stories are harrowing. A kid hiding behind a trash can who was sniped. A kid who went up to the fence and just put a Palestinian flag and she was shot in the head and died instantly. It goes on and on and on. And so, you know, we're just trying to document this to really kind of push the needle for accountability, because these laws have been agreed upon by the international community, some of them 100 years ago. And to have kind of a rogue state acting with complete impunity, knowing that it has total protection from the US empire and given more freedom than ever under Trump with this Golan Heights thing, and the moving of the Jerusalem embassy, or the moving of the embassy to Jerusalem. I mean, it's abysmal, and it needs to be stopped. And, you know, they can't control the narrative any longer because we're seeing this with our own eyes. And that's what this film does, is really lays it all out.
Abby, you concentrate and focus on so many different fucked up parts of the world. But you're very friendly and upbeat. Like, see, like you're laughing at this. How do you manage to maintain your sanity? Because I have a hard time if I just watch one of your pieces.
Right.
I watch one of your clips and I just go, what the fuck? And I just want to cry and I don't know what to do and I want to hug my kids. But you're in the trenches every day and you go to these places all the time. How do you do it?
Well, I think that, well, first of all, I go and camp a lot. I get into nature a lot, which is also kind of depressing, knowing that, you know, climate change and blah, blah, blah. But I try to get out and see the beauty of the world and understand my privilege, especially as an American citizen, because we can't afford to not be aware, and we can't afford to not be educated and talking about these issues, especially when our government is subsidizing this around the world, $10 million every day with our tax dollars. You know, I mean, this is going on, and it's so close to home. And we have to acknowledge our privilege and acknowledge the situation, which is we have agency. We have agency to lobby our government to change this and to stop these criminal acts. So, dude, last time we were on, wow, crazy stuff happened after that, right?
Yeah.
Huge ass smear campaign.
A gigantic pile of email, thankfully to the wrong email address, but I still was aware of them.
Right.
Of a bunch of people. And it was like a form letter talking about how you're a liar and you're anti-Israel and none of this stuff is happening between, you know, Israel and it got weird. It got weird. It was like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of emails. I don't even know how many were coming in.
And that's a campaign. That's a campaign with a large amount of money behind it, because the Israeli lobby likes to come down very hard on people who speak out against the crimes of Israel. As you see, this is a third rail issue. No one talks about it, even though it's so fucking obvious. I mean, we hear the mantra, Putin kills journalists, all the time. Well, Israeli forces are sniping dead journalists and children on camera, and yet the world turns a blind eye.
Well, someone got killed just a few days ago, right?
A journalist just died yesterday. He was shot in the abdomen. Yeah, they're all Palestinian. There's been no Israeli casualties, wounded or otherwise. But yes, Stand With Us is directly funded by the Israeli government. It's part of their giant Hasbro operation, and they made a video. They were promoting a video trying to debunk what I said on here. Look, you can look at the Empire Files and see all of the documentation of what I said.
And that's your stuff.
That's all my stuff. Yeah, the Empire Files.
Where's that?
The EmpireFiles.tv. And it's a YouTube channel that you can subscribe to too. But I mean, it's just very easily verifiable facts. Like that Israeli military law governs the West Bank. This is verifiable in 5 seconds on Amnesty International. So it was just very desperate measures to try to obfuscate what I was saying. And this is really all they have left, because the tide is turning, man. I mean, look, Natalie Portman just signed on to boycott this conference in Israel, and they are running scared. I mean, they're trying to revoke her citizenship because she's basically participating in BDS, because she said recent events have made her greatly disturbed, as it should disturb everyone, the fact that there's this ongoing massacre. And if I could just explain to people what's going on really quickly, it is horrifying, you guys. I mean, there's a thing called the Great March of Return. And it's been completely nonviolent on the side of Palestinians. It's in Gaza, which is the open-air prison where about 2 million people are housed and caged like animals, and they're not allowed to leave. I can't think of any other place in the world that refugees actually can't leave. Otherwise, they'll be shot. So there's like Israeli guard posts surrounding this place. They count their calories. They don't let them have concrete, anything that can be construed as a weapon, etc. So anyway, they're protesting this, right? Because they have no dignity, no humanity, and no agency to live their lives. And so they're protesting non-violently. They're going up to the fence, and thousands and thousands of them, and 40 people have just been executed. There's Israeli soldiers sitting up, perched on a hilltop with sniper scopes. This isn't just random gunfire that people are being hit with. They are deliberately attacking every single person with headshots, with genitalia shots. It's sick. And press, there's people marked press. I mean, that's an egregious war crime. Yet you have Nikki Haley vetoing every single UN resolution or investigation into Israel. I can't imagine another country.
That is?
So I think that, look, Israel can only survive with U.S. sponsorship. And we love to have that beachhead in the Middle East. We love to have that military garrison because we use Israel like what happened in Syria. We used Israel to bomb Syria first to test the waters. We use Israeli forces to execute nuclear scientists in Iran. We use the Mossad to do all kinds of stuff. So we love to have that kind of military outpost in the Middle East that we can use to try to intimidate all those post-colonial states that are independent or we want to overthrow. So I think that's why, a lot of people say, oh, the lobby controls us, and I think that that's wrong. I think that there's a lot of lobbies that have influence, but I think it's more strategic than that. I really do.
And so for the Palestinians, so the Palestinians that are trapped in Gaza, and if they leave, there's no other way to go other than through Israel?
Yeah, well, yes, and a lot of people are like, oh, well, what about Egypt and Jordan? They can try to go out that way. No, I mean, basically, they're all in cahoots with Netanyahu's administration, and they're all basically client states of the U.S. So, no, they can't leave, and Israel controls their water, the passageways, everything. They don't let them leave. Like, a lot of these people who've been shot with sniper rifles can't even get treatment because they're denied treatment. So there's so many amputations that are totally unnecessary. So now you have like thousands of people who are just amputated. 5,000 people have been shot with live ammunition.
And you've been there. And how much time did you spend when you were there?
So I was in the West Bank for a month.
And they let you go back and forth from Gaza to...
No, unfortunately, I was banned from Gaza because I was told I was a propagandist and I was not a real journalist. And I was told I was an Iranian agent, which was confusing because I thought I was a Russian agent.
Who was saying
the
this?
Press minister of Israel.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think they thought it was... They probably calculated that it would be less risky to just block me from entering than having me go in and show the horrors and the abuses that are going on there. But I mean, we're talking about executing children in sniper scopes, and there's videos of these soldiers gleefully laughing. They are literally like, man, did you see his legs go up? Like, look at that shit, man. Oh, did you get a headshot? IDF soldiers have t-shirts where they have pregnant women in crosshairs that says 1 shot, 2 kills. Like, these people are fucking sick. Yeah.
Is there a photo of that
Yes,
anywhere?
there is. Look it up. IDF soldier pregnant woman t-shirt. They also have crosshairs of babies.
What the fuck?
And then not only that, but on top of all of this happening, you have colonial settlers who come down and they're cheering them on. They're like, this is the best show in town. They're sitting there drinking coffee and beer and just cheering on this massacre that's been going on for 4 weeks.
Look at this.
There it is. 1 shot, 2 kills.
Wow.
1 shot, 2 kills. I'm not gonna show the rest of it. I'm not gonna show the rest of it. You know why? Because it'll piss me off, and I like being pissed off. Yeah, this was an old video. This was, I think it was last year this came out. So anybody who's in support of murderous government, this is why I attack identity at all times. Identity is the problem with us. We are broken. We've lost all value in human life. 1 shot, 2 kills, shooting pregnant women. And believe me, I'll post a link. You can watch the rest of Abby's interview. I can't watch the rest of it because it'll change me the rest of the day, and I don't want to be changed the rest of the day. I unfortunately have watched her interview with Joe Rogan. She did 2. And I follow Empire Files and Telesur English. And if you're actually educating yourself and you're not watching the US media, you will understand why I say, if Christ comes back, and you live in America, you live in Israel, you live in Britain, you live in Germany, yeah, you won't need Christmas cards this year. Because we are not only in defiance of human life and anything logical when it comes to this nonsense, we're all in support of it. We have bank accounts, we have jobs, some of us are still voting. We support this stuff. And that's why I have to stop there. I can't go any further. I know me. And I can't go any further. I mean, it's one thing y'all is shooting kids. Another thing you're shooting women. It's another thing you're shooting disabled people. But you're shooting women who are pregnant and you're laughing about 2 kills and you make a t-shirt. Come on. All right. So anyway, I'm done. This is why I believe in demons. This is why I believe in angels and demons and psychopathic, murderous, Beelzebub demigods. Okay? Because you can't be human to be that dark. You can't be. I can't, I won't accept it. You can't be human and be that dark as to shoot a pregnant woman laughing. That's not human. That's not a human energy. That's not something. We don't know people like my whole psychopath thing. Like, if you got into a car accident and a child died, it would probably ruin the rest of your life if you didn't commit suicide, because you're a human being and you can feel, and you'll feel the regret. You'll feel the pain from losing one child. One baby didn't grow up on this planet because you were driving a car and texting or drinking or whatever, and it will change the rest of your life. You won't be the same person ever again because you're a human being. You're not a killer. You look at all of these governments, US government, Congress, president, whoever you support, Obama, Bush, Clinton, Trump, whoever you want to support, Netanyahu, Putin, all of them, they are all killers. They are all, now, I put a caveat in there. I mean, maybe once they get in office, they don't really have the control and it's too late. And, you know, power vacuum kind of does that. When it sucks you in, it keeps you doing those things that are profitable. But whatever runs all of this, outside of the puppets and the butts in the chairs, it is a psychopathic, dark, archon, satanic, antichrist energy. If you can't do it because you're a human and they can do it hundreds of times, we drop 100 bombs a day. We drop buildings on babies every damn day. Yeah. All right, that's why I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop because I'm starting to just, yeah, it gets to me. I laugh a lot, but it does get to me every now and then when you start thinking about the people who God is sending to this planet, the spirits, the beautiful children, and the psychopathic monsters that for political reasons are cheering governments that are sending them right back. All right, I have to stop there. All right, I'm gonna read comments, I'm gonna get out of here. I gotta read comments again. I know when I had enough. I can't watch the whole interview. I watched her interview twice. I'm gonna post a link, you can watch the whole thing. And I encourage you to do so. But yeah, I can't watch it anymore. You know, because the thing, one of the reasons it gets to me is I still have friends who support it. And that people I love, people who I loosely say I respect, still support this. They still believe the propaganda. They still believe the lies in the media that are murdering children every day and pregnant women. All right, let's do comments. I'm gonna go. Let me scroll up, make sure I didn't miss too many comments. Biden indictment. Rebecca, I don't know what a Biden indictment is, but I don't believe that the powers that control all of this are going to stop because Netanyahu's not in office. Like, I think we get pulled into identity and we think that the identities are in control, and they usually use the identities the same way they do here. The Trumps, the Obamas, everybody else, the Bidens, they use them as puppets. And so we breathe a sigh of relief when they get rid of them. Right? We think that they're good and bad and they're in control, and that's not how the world works. You know, the world works on power and money. And so that's why I don't believe it. I'm not sure what the Biden indictment is, but I don't believe that getting rid of Netanyahu is going to change anything. The powers have to change, the structure, the model, what runs this endless war central banking thing has got to change, and that hasn't changed. So I don't think getting rid of Netanyahu would do anything. That's my belief. I hope I'm wrong, but unfortunately, that's my gut, that's my heart, and that's history. And I don't trust my mind, because all of this stuff is usually intended to control me and make me alone. 10 seconds, no protection. And that's it. I called you Ichiban. I know that's not your name. From a distance, it's Ichiban. I'm an old dude. You know I got bad eyes. Itching Thor. Goodness gracious. All right, anyway. Thor, I know who you are. 10 seconds, no protection. That's it. That's all you need, 10 seconds. I think you give 10 seconds to every American politician in Venezuela. Give 10 seconds to every American, just the geopolitical ones, and the ones high up. Like the ones lower down, I think are good people. I've talked to a lot of politicians who don't have the influence and the power, and they'll tell you the honest truth that they're not allowed to do anything because the people at the top, they control everything, and they're the ones getting the big money and the big retirement. But you just take the tops, the ones involved in geopolitics. I don't know. Give them 10 seconds in Iraq. Give them 10 seconds in Afghanistan. Well, Afghanistan kind of big. Give them 20. The people that get to them in 20, like the Americans are here. Oh my God. Not the American soldiers, but the people from Washington here, 20 seconds. I guarantee you, that camel ain't never moved so fast in his life. People tend to get a little moody when you kill their children and their wives and their grandparents, and you burn their farm and steal their land. They tend to get a little moody. Yeah, they'll catch up to you in 20 seconds. That's all they need. Narcissistic behavior, kill people, then claim victim. And that's what they do, Susan. And they create the terrorists. They create the terrorists by the devastation that they're doing for corporations, blowing up lands and stealing their resources and their lands. And then they claim to be the victim. Netanyahu's a victim. Obama's a victim. You know, Trump is a victim. And I'm like, no, y'all are puppets, but you're complicit. And we're complicit too. They're just a little more complicit in all of it. They're higher up, and I think that if you want to be a president, you need to tell the truth. If you want to be a prime minister, you need to tell the truth. You need to be humane. If you want to be a president over humanity, you need to be humane. If you want to be a congressman or woman over humanity, you need to be humane. If you want, because I'm always about humans, not systems and corporations. And these people all work for corporations and banks. Investigate the investigators, says he. That's what he says, Sandra. I think everything needs investigation. And you investigate the investigators, investigate investigation, and at the end of the investigation should be like really poor homeless people and teachers. Because I don't trust anyone that's state-sponsored. Lots of laughter. They didn't impeach Trump. So here's the next bone. Oh, okay, is that what happened, Kimberly? Is that over? I didn't get any pop-ups today. Is the impeachment over? No, I just saw a little post. Oh, I'm sorry, got my attention. It said humans on Mars, microgravity radiation effects. I kind of caught my eye. Did they impeach him? Is it over with? Good punishment, gee, wow, I'd vote for that. I would too, Christine. I think the punishment should fit the crime. That's scriptural. When the punishment stopped fitting the crime, all hell broke loose. Let me see. Throwing us bones, yes, Lori. That's all I think it is too. I think they're just throwing people bones to get people to calm down and focus on the impeachment or climate change or whatever else they want to get people focused on. Technically, they replace Kabila's presidency in the Congo, but he still runs things. Titles mean zero. And that's true, Deborah. And I appreciate that. Deborah is definitely in sync with what's happening more in Africa. You got a lot of friends who live there. I've got some, but you're a lot closer to yours. And the reality is they change the puppet. They do the same thing here. They just change the puppet, but the power, the underlying power stays there. As long as the underlying power stays there, it doesn't really matter. The name, the label means nothing. Don't get lost in the identity is what I try to tell people. Hey, G, thanks for the Manson video. I had no idea how awake that dude was. Going to do some serious research now. Okay, Thor's talking about yesterday. So we did a watch party on Manson. And the reason why I did that is because one of y'all, somebody sent me a Manson video. Probably 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It was probably, I don't know if it was Wanda, Susan. Somebody sent it to me. Lori, somebody sent it to me. Or Buddha, somebody did. And it blew my mind. It blew my mind. And that's why I posted that and I did that watch party. We'll do another one today. I'm going to try to do a watch party every day on Facebook. But it blew my mind. It blew my mind because I was always told he was a psychopathic killer. Every time I think of Charles Manson, I think of Helter Skelter with the, you know, the thing on there. Come to find out, that's not who he was at all. Now, do I think he was crazy? Yeah, I do. But then again, I kind of think everybody's crazy. I think he was set up. The fact that one of the girls who died, whose father was a CIA operative, and I don't know that all of that is exactly true. When he was in prison, he said some of the deepest things. Don't get me wrong. It was an intelligent video of a man who was supposed to be totally nuts saying very sane things, extremely sane things for that time and for now. There are other videos where he's a total nut job. So don't like, you know, like, oh wow, he was, yeah, you know, no, he had his moments. And maybe they drugged him while he was in prison. Maybe they made him even crazier. I don't know. But it didn't fit with the narrative they gave me. It blew my mind because he said extremely powerful things. And almost everything he said I agreed with. They asked him, did he want to get out of prison? That was a great part of the interview. I'll post it here also. And he said, no, I don't want out of, why am I going to get out of prison? Basically, I'm getting out of prison to go to another prison. Why do I want to get out of prison? I have no rights here and I have no rights there. Why do I want to get out? You know, you're killing my earth. You're killing my trees. You know, like he was just saying incredibly deep things. So I would say take a look at that. Just remember, like, we're all clones. This is a clone war. And they give us narratives and we don't question. And we need to question everything. Everything. And be wrong. And be okay to be wrong. You got to be okay to be wrong. So that's the only way you get smarter. Y'all give me information. I chew it up, regurgitate it. Sometimes it's right. Sometimes it's wrong. It's okay to be wrong. That's how you get smart. Anyone seen Abby's film yet? No, Deborah, I don't think I've seen it yet. Post a link if you got a link for it. Let me see. Kelly is crazy. Oh, okay. How we all believe a man who was at the scene of the crime, never killed anyone, was the worst serial killer in the world. Okay. Oh no, Kelly, you're saying Kelly, it's crazy. Oh, okay, you're talking Kelly. Okay. It is crazy. It is crazy, but it's crazy because we're stupid. I'm not sure it's so crazy because the CIA done told us this now. All the whistleblowers and Freedom of Information Act. It's crazy because we still believe it. That's why it's crazy. It's not crazy because it's crazy. It's crazy because we still believe the narrative of the mainstream media. Back then, we should have believed. Now, nobody should believe. Right now, everybody should be questioning everything. All right, let me go down. Read Tom O'Neill's book on Manson. Okay, I will, Lori. Thank you so much. Hopefully Tom O'Neill has a lecture. My book list is so long now, Lori, it's going to take me forever to get to it. So what I try to do is I try to go watch the lectures of the authors. And while I do want to read some comments, something's getting my eye. Okay, no, never mind. So NASA tests alien hunting robot in our Antarctica. Okay, well, you know, that's probably the probe that dives down into the oceans through the ice. Yeah, we know that there's life all over the universe and it's mostly aquatic. So that, you know, because there's water on every single planet. So to me, that's not really news. That they're slowly releasing to the public what common sense should tell everybody. Gaza fights for freedom. Yeah, I think that's what it's called, Thor. I never looked too deep into it, but I noticed that Manson seemed pretty intelligent, almost too intelligent to be such a horrible thing. All right, Kimberly, and it's easy to stage something like that. I mean, all they have to do is just, I mean, you've got the MK Ultra project. You know, all they have to do is drug him, drug them, and they can stage anything they want. They can go in and pose as this, pose as that. You know, and so I'm not trying to take anything away from, you know, the whole murder investigation he was involved in, whatever. I just think that things aren't how they appear to be. That's right. Things are not how they appear to be when it comes to Charles Manson. There's a reckoning on its way for the people that live in the U.S. Unfortunately, Rebecca, I think there is, but that's how the world works. We sent that karma out. That karma's going to turn around and come back. We sent those chickens out in the morning, and, well, I guess we sent the rooster out, and the rooster always comes home to roost. So, although that's a weird saying, because isn't it the chicken that comes home to roost? Anyway. Her name is Abby. What? Oh, Abby Martin, Maria. Abby Martin. I think they shut down Telesur English, if I'm not mistaken, but she was on Telesur English. Her Her name of her show is Empire File. You can find a lot of her online, and she's got a website as well. All right, let me change the music because I'm gonna have to get out of here. We went real late today, and I got to pee. I've been drinking this smoothie, and I've been trying my best, sneaking away when I could. But yeah, I'm going to finish this up. Let's start to wrap this up. I'll bet Abby's always looking over her shoulder. Absolutely, Thor. There's no question. I mean, the most powerful people on this planet love Israel. Not the people. They love the prophecy in the land, right? So they love the Zionists, and they're kind of rolling out their project. When the most powerful people on the planet that own governments, and they own the Israel government too. That's why I don't really focus on Israel that much. I say focus on the power. The people that you'll never get to know, those billionaires that actually make all the decisions, and maybe they're trillionaires. They own the United States, they own Britain, they own, if you live in nations and you're going after the darling of the most powerful people on the planet, yep, you should always look over your shoulder. Let me see, always discredit truth tellers, shaking my hand. That's what they do, Kimberly, that's how they hold the lies up. Whoever runs things uses the Vatican to control folks through religion, England through money, and America through military. There's no separation, all owned by the same people. I agree with you, Susan, and we don't know who they are. I won't say we know who they are. We know that the highest up we can get in what we know, in my opinion, is looking at central banking, right? Who's above that, we'll never get to know. They always put families in front of us, and I'll mention the Rothschilds and Rockefellers and all that, but some of them are good people. You know, and so it's not even all of them. You know, you always have the elite of the elite or the cabal of the cabal. I think the wealthy, in my mind, the people with the real power are never on television. You can go on YouTube and find documentaries about the Rothschilds and Rockefellers. I think they used to be in power. Who's in power now? We have no idea. And we're not going to know for 20 or 30 years, and this might be after we're extinct. We never really know. Powerful people aren't stupid enough to go on television. Powerful people aren't stupid enough to have documentaries written about them. They always give us something to attack. And we think we solved the problem, but we never really got to the root of the problem. Some people say it's aliens. I don't know. U.S. military murders, money, and religion not nearly as deadly. This is true. Money and religion. Money is the core problem that is behind all the power. Money plus power, because money's reputation of human labor. Won't go through all of that, but they're nowhere nearly as deadly. Right? Hold on. I think I'm saying that wrong. You're saying U.S. military murders. Yes, it does, because that's what all militaries do. They're supposed to be for defense. Money and religion not nearly as deadly. I'm not sure, Rebecca, if you're saying that. All right, I'm going to have to get going. Get down to the bottom so you got a last comment or two. Death of others did not matter to him. Nope. And death of anyone should matter to everybody who is human. Weird, I made comments saying they discredit a lot of people. In communes, they collapse and it disappeared. That's not weird, Kimberly. This is the billionaires' media. This is the billionaires' world. We only get to say what they allow us to say. So anyway, I gotta get going. Listen, it's Friday. Y'all enjoy your Friday. It's Freedom Friday. Have a great weekend. Stay in the fight. Remember, you are a god. You're a spiritual creature in a 98% monkey body, most likely in an oppressive nation. We need to free the human race, and the only way we do that is we start speaking truthful things and we stop lying. We stop being clones in their wars, whether it's an information war, truth war, political party war. Get out of the nonsense. Race wars, religion war, all of that's it's all fantasy and it's all nonsense. Stop being a clone, have your own mind, do your own research, do your own critical thought. How you going? Anyway, this is Gerard. Enjoy your weekend. I'm out of here. Love y'all to death now. Thank you for sharing. Like and subscribe. Well, I got to say that now on YouTube. Like and subscribe. How you going? Bye.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So to Stand With Us, that organization...
that is a crazy fucking t-shirt.
Yeah. So Stand With Us and all these other organizations that work on the behest of the Israeli government to try to smear anyone who criticizes it, your time is up, man. People are waking up. You can't just keep executing people on camera and getting away with it. And, you know, if Stand With Us means stand with the snipers shooting kids from a sniper scope.
Why are they doing this?
They want to terrorize and put fear in the hearts of these people. They don't want them to protest. They want them to submit. They want them to submit, and they basically have dehumanized them to the point where they, you know, you can't put a kid in a sniper scope and kill him unless you've completely dehumanized him to the point where you think that he's an animal.